Have you taken a look at the data structure algorithm problems for tonight, Liz?
Um, just glanced at it really. I had a pretty full day today, actually.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Just work, or
No, it's like running errands and stuff. The bulk of my day was dealing with the IRS, so you can imagine how
Mm,
fun that was.
oh,
I
nice.
just jumped out a window. Heard those three letters and I'm like, I'm out.
Surprisingly, the person I talked to was helpful, but it took about like 5 phone calls for me to actually get to someone who knew what they were doing.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah.
that's been
Well,
the day.
hopefully it's over.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. And then who else do we have? No one. All right. I guess James didn't say what's up, but it's all good. We'll just jump right into it. So, yesterday we'll just go over what we did yesterday, and then I'll ask everybody what they think we should do today. Um, I do have a couple things in mind, but I do want to see what everybody else says too. So let me share my screen. Boom. Cool. All right. So basically, if you look at this stuff, that we did yesterday. So we have, this is the same Meetup app or Meetup component that we were working on the other day. So we have our navigation. I'll go ahead and slide that into the browser just so everybody can see that there. And so, Jake, you got me looking into Hack the Box too, bro.
I'm a try hack me guy, not a hack the box guy, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking into like local file inclusion, but I feel like I really need to like learn more about networks before getting into this stuff. But you're kind of forced to get into networks by digging into this stuff, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, let's see. So we have our inputs. What we did yesterday was if you don't have anything inside of the inputs and you click on the button, you just get an alert that pops up, input information or else. If you do have stuff in here, so let's say cooking and Boston, then we're going to get event cards that start popping up. And so what we did yesterday was 2 days ago we did this function here, print event location. And then yesterday we did display events and create event card. So there's a couple things that we could do here. Definitely with some styling of this, which would include a little extra JavaScript here. But I actually want to go another direction. I'd like to go into arrays and storing objects inside of arrays and rendering those arrays when we display our events. So instead of just displaying one card, displaying like, what if we have 7 cards? How do we display those 7 cards? And go from there. But what does everyone else think? Looking at this code, what do you guys think is like a logical next step?
I mean, I think that makes sense because in the real application, like you would never have just one random title coming up, you know?
Just one static event. Everybody, this is the only event available to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's good for people who haven't been exposed to, learn. Honestly, in vanilla JavaScript, I know it's obviously a map of some kind, but I'm like, wait a minute, what? Because like I'm now used to doing, using React for stuff, but I'm sure it all looks the same.
Yes. So, all
Okay,
right. Yes. What's up, James?
okay. I just want to ask one question. The
Yes,
only
sir.
thing I'm going to ask today is, could you please put the code somewhere where we can see?
Yeah.
That's it. Anything that you're doing, I can look at and figure out. I don't think I need much help, but I do need to. Thank you.
Yes, yes. I'll do that actually right this second. So let me just leave a couple comments for everybody else to hop in here. I'm going to say create an array. So this is pretty easy. And inside the array, place, let's just say, I don't know, what do we have? 4 people here. So place 4 objects. Each object is an event. And each event contains a title. A title right now. Yeah, we only added a title. We don't have a description or anything else. But each title, each object is an event. Each event contains a title, description, a title and description. That's good. Because adding the description is going to be a little bit of work too. And let me invite everybody into my code editor. That way, I'm just going to go ahead and create a GitHub repo really quickly and give you the link for that code so that I could just get that out of the way for you. So you have access to this code too. And then, yeah, let me post this link for everybody. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go. So feel free to go ahead, click that link, hop into the code editor, and just do the pseudocode. So we just need an array with everybody just create one object, and just so you could get the experience of like typing out an object. And then we're gonna have to find a way to, like Liz said, iterate over this object and print multiple objects instead of just one. So let me just go to GitHub quick. James, code base on the way, sir. We'll just call it meetup clone, I guess. For now, I'll make it public. Create repo. Get init. Get branch. There we go.
Hey Liz, just out of curiosity, are you still using just your Apple earbuds?
Yeah.
Hmm,
So
I
I'm
can't
plugged
believe
in.
I can't believe how crisp they are.
I wonder if it's because, well, I have a, what do I have here? A Mac Mini? Is that what I have?
Mac Mini, like the little square one?
Yeah,
Not
it's
the
not
Mac
a It's not a
Studio.
studio. No, no.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Mac Mini. Okay. I was like, wait a minute, what do I actually have? But it's just the plug-in. It's not even the Lightning plug-in. It's like the 3.5 millimeter old
That's
school
amazing.
headphones.
That's amazing.
That's it. I don't use my AirPods because I have them, but like every time I talk to people who are having who are using AirPods, especially in my cohort, there was this one kid who we couldn't understand what he was saying, or I couldn't personally. I was like, every other word I would catch and be like, dude,
Maybe he bought some fake AirPods.
maybe. So I was like, I can't have people not hearing me.
Yeah, plugins always gonna win that battle.
Old school it
Hands
is.
down, yeah. It's like Cat 5, Ethernet over Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Maybe that helps too, because I'm plugged in. I'm not going over Wi-Fi. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm gonna bring mine out of retirement for one of these meetings, and I'm gonna wait
Telling
to
you,
see
man.
if you notice a difference.
I mean, you all sound really good too, so I don't know. I felt bad for that one kid in the, was he in the data structures and algorithms thing yesterday who like doesn't have a mic or something? I just wanted to be like, bro, go get some headphones.
Mm-hmm. I can mail you some.
I'll buy you some.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a Black Friday sale. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Like I
who
remember,
was
like
that?
20 years ago, that was kind of like, you know, for someone, it was always a thing. Like if you had a camera or a mic 20 years ago, but like in 2023, I'm always amazed if somebody doesn't have that. Like if it just didn't come with the computer.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't even know why I bought these, like, again, because I haven't had them for a while. Maybe it was because of my, like, I can plug into my Roku remote too, and if I'm watching something later at night.
You plug your headphones into your Roku remote?
Yeah.
No way.
Mhm.
I've never heard of that before. Plug in headphones into a remote.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
So they're handy that way too.
Jim, you're like the Git master, aren't you? Look at you.
No.
You're just Git pushing all over the place
I'm
here.
struggling over here, actually.
Seeing a lot of red. I feel like every command is met with a bit of red here.
I've done this 1,000 times. I'm like,
does he even know what he's doing anymore? I think Jim's drinking on the job again.
stumbling over here.
What is happening?
He's not quite sure yet. He's still working that out.
No, I had one file and then I was like, let me just do it in it. Let me just create another file. And then I was like, let me not do that. All right. Let me, How are you guys doing over here?
I'm waiting for somebody to do something so I can copy what they do.
So I just
All right.
did the empty
I've
events
never
array,
written
and
an
then we got
array,
to
so I
talking.
don't know. I'm like an array, big V over here.
So this is an array that's containing,
Objects.
yeah, so let's just say we have an array containing strings.
Yeah, I opened it up, but like an empty array just looks like
We have an array
a bracket.
containing numbers. We have an array containing
So for the event, you
objects.
could do bowling, could do dancing.
Got some real life events.
Yes, bowling, dancing. You can do music.
So okay, those are
So I'm just giving you
So,
an example here.
Yes.
oh, Jim is making our objects.
Okay.
No, I'm just giving you an example here because I showed like this is an array that contains strings. This is an array that contains numbers. This is an array that contains objects, and I'll just give you an example of like what one looks like.
Okay.
A sample one. Obviously, you guys are going to be creating one with like a real.
And do you know
title,
it's
which-
objects by the curly brackets?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
I'm feeling all of my like 5 intro to Python courses coming back.
Ooh.
All right. What did I do wrong here?
Probably playing around with that confetti.
Get in there. Error, failed to push somewhere else. There we go. I was trying to move too fast. Sometimes you just gotta slow down. All right.
So if we're here,
Cool.
and events is our array.
There we go. Here you go, James. I'm posting it in the chat right now.
What I now have to say.
You now have the code, sir.
It seems wrong, but I'm just going with it.
I feel like you're defining events twice. No?
Ooh, there's an array of events, but
Inside of events?
one event is an object.
So let me ask you this, Liz.
So, go
right
ahead.
right here in the ones that I created, I'm just putting strings without their declaration, with no initialization. I'm just putting the strings. So do you think that you have to initialize it, or do you think just an object alone would be good?
That's what I was like questioning, but I think
Yeah.
you're leading me towards an object alone is good.
Well, yours kind of looks like JSON, so I see why you would type that.
Oh, okay.
Yep. There you go, Jake. You're spot on.
Gotta go back to basics. There you go.
Oh, that's how you usually do it. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep.
Um,
Well, normally you don't just type it out statically like this unless you're just testing it out. You'd be pulling in data from an API or something, but we just want to like
Okay.
make sure it's working before we do something like that. We could actually, what I was thinking after this feature was adding a feature where people could add events by just like filling out a form and clicking like a create
okay.
event
Yeah.
kind of thing, and then based on that, then we could start storing events in local storage so that it actually pulls the events from local storage. So there's like a couple fun things we could do.
I like
Oh,
it.
okay. That sounds good. Just mostly like get suggestions. So it would be a real live app where people could actually go to the app and make suggestions of events, or is that something that we create ourselves?
Hold on, say that again.
No, no. When you mention about creating a form and people could actually uh submit a suggestion of events they want to see, is that like really part of the app where people could actually go to a website and do that, or is that something that we do on our own?
Both. I mean, if people wanted to give feedback on how we can improve the app, that's one way to do it, and then we could also do it ourselves. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Jake, I'm just putting commas separating your objects. I'm not trying to be annoying.
Was I missing them?
Oh, that was there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
If you
yeah.
didn't want to start talking over people.
No, you're good. All right, cool.
Sneaky comma.
And then we have, I'll go ahead and delete that. That was just for an example. Cool, cool.
So the penetration testing would be like
Yeah.
cyber security, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's up? I forgot. Is it Javier or Richard? I think it's one of those, right? Or maybe I'm off entirely. I think I only see a M dot dot dot. I think it's
Why does it keep doing that? That's so annoying to me.
it's streaming mode. It's for privacy.
Ah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, how come I'm not dotted out? How come my name's on full front street?
It might be settings.
No, he has it's music lover. It's a full name. It's just long.
Oh, we don't see it.
Oh,
Yeah.
You'll see it on your
That's
Discord.
me.
I just won't see it on my Discord.
Oh.
But normally I go ahead and I do change nickname and I just put like a first name anyways because I want to at least know what to call people. What is your name, Music Lover?
It's Javier.
Javier. Okay, cool. I
And
knew
it's
it was
lo-fa.
Cool. Music lo-fi.
I'm not sure if you've seen this absolutely stunningly beautiful array that me and my friends have constructed over here, but
Oh,
that's
wow.
the thing that's
Wow.
happening.
Wow.
And without my friend Liz and her parentheses, we would be stuck in the mud, going nowhere. But
All right, y'all got this.
thankfully, she's here.
This looks good. This looks good. All right, cool. So we have the array that we need, and basically what we want to do now is we want to iterate over this array. So for each one of these objects in the array, we want to create an event card. And so a couple things. One is we can't just create one card. We want to replace this line with code that creates multiple cards. And then we also want to add a description because right now we just have a title. So let me go ahead and just add some pseudocode for a couple of steps that we got. We have our, so let's say add a description to the create event card function, because you can see here we're creating a title with an h2 element and we're making the text content of that h2 element intro to bread making. And so add a description to the event card function. Make sure the title and description are dynamic, meaning that instead of putting a static string right here, we have to pull that string from an object. And so the object that we're going to pull that string from, does anyone know what that is?
It'll be in the description, right? You got the title.
Yes, from the title here. Or,
Yes.
or from the description here. So these are the strings. So
Okay.
it would be event.title or event.description instead of these static strings right here. But
Okay.
how are we going to get that title and that description inside this function?
Which is the line that we need to like eliminate? Is it 22?
30.
Oh, just kidding. 30.
Well, we actually keep that line, but we just add more code to it actually. So let me go
Okay.
ahead. Let me type this pseudocode where it's actually important, so that it's not just in.
Can you
random
actually
places.
show us like a example of what you mean?
Yeah. So let me see. Right here, we've created the title. We've imported the text content. Let me make sure that the title and description are dynamic. So let's just say the title is dynamic. So that means we need to replace this string with event.title. And then also, since we're going to add a description to the event card function, we're basically doing what we did here with the title, but with the description. And then we also have to make the description dynamic.
Oh, so that's how you make it. So is there another way you mentioned dynamic, and what's the other part to make the string? You going from, what's the other part that you described?
So, yeah.
It's just a regular string, right? And then you make it dynamic by adding events.
Yeah, so this is perfect right
Okay.
here. You're segueing into this perfectly right now. So Liz is spot on. She typed events.title. So instead of actually having a static string, events.title. But there is no events object inside this function. How does this function get the events object?
Right. Okay. Brain.
Here, I'm going to give you a hint.
So I know we need to map over something, right? We've got to map over.
Yes. Create
The
one
event?
event card for each event in our array.
So we will use this function and create event card function to make a card, right, for each event.
This one here.
Uh-huh. Okay.
To create one card for each event. Yes. But how do we access
So-
every event? Right here, we're just creating, like we were creating the static one. But now we actually need to iterate over our array, right? We need to grab each one of these events one by one. And so you can see I'm saying create one event card for each event in the array. So Liz, you're right. We do have to iterate. We do have to map over the array. Spot on. And where we have this card is where it needs to happen. So you want to give it a shot?
I'll give it a shot. We'll all fail together and help each other.
Yes.
Wait, I had my MGN somewhere.
Think of ES6 and think of the newer methods of looping over an array or iterating over an array.
So ES6, is that the updated version of JavaScript, or is that another part of JavaScript?
ES6 is just a version of JavaScript, the standardized
Oh, okay.
version, the one basically everybody's using right now.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I hear that a lot. So
It's like this being here is throwing me off.
Yeah, so we
I
can.
think.
So this and this are gonna stay there, but they're
Yeah.
not gonna be alone. These are gonna be wrapped inside of something. Let me go ahead and just do a little search here.
Because what I think I would want to maybe do. Tell me if I'm doing too much. Because we don't want to say event card again.
No.
What should I say?
No.
What should I call it?
What are you creating here?
The map.
Okay. So what are you mapping over?
I want to do it over the event card, or yeah.
Let me ask you this. So with the map method, like if you do this array, like let's say you do events.map, that map method is going to return an array. If you do events.forEach, then you're going to be able to execute some functionality for every time there's an event.
Let's do that one.
So do you want to return an array from the iteration, or do you just want to do something every time you find an object?
It sounds like we want to do something every time we find an object.
Yes. Let me ask you this though. If you did use the mapping method and it returned an array, what would you do with that array?
Because then you're displaying it in like the respective divs and whatnot on the screen.
Displaying it in the respective divs?
Yeah, wherever we established in the card.
I think, let me show you one thing. So we are going to use for each. Jake, you were spot on.
Okay.
But there is one way that we would use map. So let's say we had our array with object, and we needed to convert this array into something we could append onto the container. So with the for each, we're just going to, every single time we have an event object, so we have this event object, we're going to create a card, we're going to append. We're going to go to this object, we're going to create a card, we're going to append. We're going to go to this object, we're going to create a card, we're going to append. That's because we're not using any template HTML. But if we were using template HTML, we could just use this array to create a brand new array. And so what our new array would look like is, it would look like this. And I'm just gonna do an H1 for each one of these objects, but you would have like HTML for every single one of these objects. You'd also have a description, like a paragraph in each one of these. I'll just do it for one of them. And you'd have like the description, and they just be tacked onto each other. And then, since for each one of these objects, you're just adding the HTML required to render, then you could just do .join at the end. That would get rid of the array. That would create one string that contains all the HTML, and then you could just set the inner HTML or insert adjacent HTML to this right here, and you could decide where you want to place that HTML. So if we were doing it with the HTML, then map is good, because we actually want to, for each object, return a block of HTML text. But since we're doing it programmatically with JavaScript, then we'll just use the for each, because we just want to execute some sort of functionality every single time we have, for every object we have, basically. But just wanted to share that one with you.
Accomplishing more with
Yeah,
less.
it's all doing the same thing. Depends on, like, certain companies have different requirements where they actually do want to see what the HTML looks like in the function just for readability, or, you know, they've just been doing it that way and they want to keep things the same, or, you know, every company's different. So there are different ways to do the same things, and it all depends on the company you start working with as far as like what will their requirements be. But yeah, so here
We don't need.
how do you execute a for each loop on an array? That's a good question right here. And actually, I think it's right here. So Stack Overflow. And here we go. It's right here. I decided that I'm gonna encourage everybody else to do searches too, but simultaneously I'm gonna do searches on Stack Overflow because typically I use like ChatGPT first and then I use Google. I don't use Stack Overflow at all anymore because it usually takes me the longest to find something. So as I'm encouraging everybody else to go find something, I'm gonna be racing you guys to see if I can find it first with Stack Overflow. So your goal is to become faster than me finding things on Stack Overflow. And you guys can use anything you want. ChatGPT, Google, Stack, whatever you want, use that. But I'm going to go ahead and do searches in Stack Overflow just so you could see me searching and doing that stuff as well. But so right there.
But now I'm stuck in a world of trying to figure out the difference between for and for each.
They're both just loops.
Correct, but what the difference is. The for each method provides a more concise and expressive way to perform actions on each element of an array, while the for loop gives more control over the iteration process.
Yeah, so with a for each, you're going to be iterating from the beginning to the end of every element, no matter what. But what if you have to break out of it like halfway? What if you're just looking for a certain element, and once you find that element, you could break out? Though there are
then you'd use for.
Then there are. I wouldn't say so because most of the stuff like that you would like there are already built-in methods for that too. You know, like find. It'll just find the first one. So it depends on what you're trying to do. There's like a method for everything basically. I like using the for loops that are not built in just because I started with C. Like when I first started coding in 2017, I started with C. So that's what I knew. That's what I learned. I learned the for loops that way. But recently I've been just starting to use the built-in because it's just so much clearer for readability. People know exactly what you're trying to do, you know. So depends on the situation though. So someone could go ahead, feel free to type that out on line 36.
Do we need the const here?
We do not need the const.
We do not.
No.
So then it would be, because our array is events, right?
Yep. Yes, events.
For each event, we do something.
Yes.
That's how that looks. Now, what are we doing? We're displaying stuff.
For each event, we want to create an event card and we want to append that event card to the events container.
So are we just moving this into here?
Exactly. Line 39 and 40 right into there. Perfect. Cool. Nice. Now, there is something here that is a little bit off. We went over it yesterday, Liz, right before we signed off. I'm not going to say anything, though. I'm going to go.
Geez.
I'm going to go ahead and let us just run the code and see what happens. All right. So then we have...
I have Dory memory, so I know.
All right, no worries at all. All right. So now, let's come here. We have... Actually, there's two things right here that we need to change, but let's come here first. So, inside here, we create our title. You made our title dynamic, so you're taking the string here and you're just overwriting the text content with events.title, so that is good and that's very clear. So we still have to add a description element.
Stopped typing.
And make the description dynamic the same way we made the title dynamic. Who wants to go ahead and do that?
I'm not going to monopolize. Like, I started typing, but somebody can finish.
Yeah, who else do we have here? We got Tiffany, Ricky, Javier, Jake, you've been doing a little typing. James, Aditya, who's actually in here though? That's the question. Jake, Liz, Tiffany, Javier. All right, so Tiffany or Javier? Pressure's on. How about we do this? How about Tiffany, you add the description. Javier, you make the description dynamic. So if you're like, how do I do this?
Okay, for what number line?
So line 23.
Yeah.
Okay.
I started it all.
Okay. What's the name of the event for line 23?
No event. So all you're doing is just you're adding a description. Actually, add is a little misleading. You are creating a description element. So a couple lines above, we created a title element. You're basically doing the same exact thing as the title element, except the description element is not an H2. And the identifier
it's not an H2.
It's not an H2.
Okay, so
it's
something similar to this right here?
Mm-hmm.
No, this right here, line 20.
Oh, sorry, I said
line 20. Yep.
Okay.
So we can see we got let description equal, and I think it's going to be document again dot something.
Document. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm just reading, like, I'm going off the line 20 as a reference here. So there it said let the title equal document dot create element h2.
Yes. But the description
So-
is not an H2. The description is going to be a paragraph. So instead of H2,
P
replace
tag.
it with yeah.
Be a P tag. Okay.
Yep. And then Javier, you're going to be replacing the text content of the description. So very similar to how we replaced the text content of the title here. You're going to be doing the same exact thing, except it's not title, it's description. And
I think
same,
that's right, Tiff.
same thing here.
Oh.
Nice, Tiff.
And then I think, yeah,
Okay.
semicolon.
Yep.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Oh, nice. Okay.
Cool. So we got that is
here-
good. We got that is good.
Okay.
So we have our title creation, our title text content, we have our description creation, our text content for, there is a mistake right here. I'll let you just look at each piece one at a time and just think about it. We are trying to change the text content of the description. So we have our like up here in the title,
Would it be events dot description?
events.description, exactly. You could go ahead and
Oh,
change that if you
okay.
want. Yeah, because then otherwise the description that shows up on our HTML would also be the title, not the description. So you can see here we have our title and we have our description.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then, so here we created our event card div, we appended our title to the event card div, and now we need to append the description to the event card div. So who wants to do that? Who else we got here? Jake, Liz, Tiffany, Javier. Tiffany and Javier just did it, so Jake or Liz, feel free to do this if you'd like.
Do you have to do it separately, or can you just do comma description?
On the append child,
Yeah.
try it out. I think you could do just
I knew you said that. Oh, my bad.
yeah.
Like title, comma, description?
Yeah.
Cool.
I bet you that works.
Append child. And then we return our event card. Now there's one major problem here. Actually, let's run it. Let's test this out and let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. Let's just see how bad we bork it.
You get like 77 errors.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, you guys are good. There's a couple things, but it's not bad. Let me make sure we got the console open. Displaying events. We're not getting any errors here.
Nor are we getting any
Hope
of
we're
it.
not getting stuff.
We're not getting errors, but we're not seeing what we're supposed to see. So, we know this isn't running because the alert didn't pop up, right? It is executing this display events function.
I'm not seeing any H2s or P tags or anything.
on our body,
Like, where
right?
is it knowing where to hook it from?
To hook our cards, you're saying?
Or is it saying to create the title in an H2? Is that what it's saying there? Let title equal document.create element. So it's saying take the title, create an element in the document, and put it in an H2. Is that what that's saying?
Yeah, create an element. This is just like a loose node in memory, though, at this point. Like, if you just run this code, there's an HTML element chilling in your computer's memory, just waiting to be latched onto another node. But when you do append child, that's what latches it onto this node. And as long as this event card here is attached to another node on the document, then yes, you're good to go. As long as they're all connected, they should render here. So if you look at, we do have, this is the node that's connected to our document. We have our events container. We use the query selector on the events container. So let's go to our index.html, and we have our events container right here. So this is the node that's, or this is the, yeah, this, we'll just call it a node. This is the node that's attached to our document right now. So this is rendering here. If you look at our elements, you can see we have our events container. What's happening here?
Not pulling the
It's
data, it's
creating the
building
things,
it.
but it's not putting anything in it.
So we have our H2, and
We don't have our
and
P.
we don't have our P. So we have our title div. Let's see. Let's go back to our code. So we have
P.
we have this div, but there's no title inside of it. So that means this line of code did not run. The 21 did not run. Also, this probably exists in memory because we created it, right? But it's not being appended.
So would that mean that we do have to do it separately?
We'll try that out, but there's a bigger problem than that, than even that.
Okay.
Because
I was gonna say, I feel like that's problem number 2 right now.
yeah. So we're not getting our data. Like, our data is just not available. Like, we don't have access to this events object, right? So how do we get this events object?
We import it.
How?
Import events. I'm just being
Import it where?
like at the top. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. Where do we need to access this events object?
Where do we need to access it?
Yeah, like, where do we need to access it here, right? Inside this function.
Mm-hmm.
We need the events object inside this function. So how do you pass an object into a function?
To pass object into function. JavaScript.
And if you just look at the display events function, if you look at this function, it's almost obvious. Not really, though.
This is extremely straightforward. You have to just place your key value pairs separated by colon inside a set of curly braces, and your object will be ready to serve or consumed. Is that right? We can pass an object to a JavaScript function, but the arguments must have the same names as the object property names.
Yes. So what function do we need to pass that object to?
Just create event card.
This function here, right? There's nothing being passed into this right here. So what needs to be passed into this?
We have to put something inside those curly braces, or inside the brackets.
Do we have to pass
Yes.
event into here?
Yes. So this right here, this callback that we're passing into the for each, it's going to use a different event every single time. This callback function is going to execute every single time for each object that's in our array. And so the first time that we execute this function right here, this event is going to be our first event. So we need to pass that event into this function so that this function has access to it. Now we also have our function definition here, but there is no argument being passed in there. So you have to actually, well, I guess you technically call it a parameter there, but same way you passed it in here, you also got to just clarify in your definition that you are going to be passing an event in there. So feel free to do that.
So pass event singular into here as well.
Yep.
So I guess my question is,
And we'll just get rid
if
of these
map
S's.
happens here with the event, how does that know?
If map, you mean the for each?
Yeah, sorry.
If for each happens
It's not
right
like
here,
a scope issue or anything?
so this is the function definition. This is the function execution. This right here is not actually executing a function. This is just like, this is almost like documentation. You're documenting what happens within the function. But this function, like if you just took this out of here, this function never executes. You actually have to execute this function for it to execute. So this is, you're just defining the behavior of the function. Here is where you're actually calling the function. And so when you're calling the function, this function call lives within this block. And so since you're passing the event inside of this function, then this function has access to the event. Everything inside of these curly braces of every function call is going to have access to each one of the events that you're passing into this function. And then this is just, you're setting the parameter. So when you define this function here, this event, this isn't an event. This is just like, this is just a parameter.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different. When you pass the event here, that's the actual object. You're passing an actual object here. Here you're just defining the behavior of the function.
And I could theoretically name this whatever.
Which one?
I could have named this Apple or something.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, no, it's continually, that's like been a battle my whole learning of JavaScript.
Same here. You could just do like EV, you know, and this could stay event, and you could just do EV down here, and that would be fine.
Yeah.
But this is pretty clear, I guess. Though I've tried to stay away from just the word event in JavaScript because just everything
Is it a
about
keyword?
JavaScript
It's not a keyword,
it's
right?
not, but it's just like it could be confusing. Event, like here I'm not thinking of like a meetup event. I'm thinking of like a JavaScript event. So it's just like a little confusing, you know. Title, description, and then let's try this out. So we're getting our error here. Cooking. Boston. Boom.
Look at that.
We got our 3 events. Nice.
Where's our confetti?
We cut it out.
Wait, what?
We got rid of that confetti. You should have saw it though. It actually was looking like real confetti.
When did getting rid of the confetti happen?
Yesterday.
Who signed off on the removal of the
Behind the
confetti is what
scenes.
I want to know.
I had to get
Who
it.
had that?
It was top down. It came directly from corporate, bro. My hands were tied. That's just above my pay grade. That's funny.
Rip confetti.
Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, it happened whether we got a result or not. So
You know, I did come across a useful animation today, which is just like a loading icon. I was playing around with some loading icons and stuff like that. Because T yesterday was asking, like, when are we actually going to use this animation stuff? And I'm like, it's all over the place. We just don't notice it now. We're so accustomed to these small little animations that increase our engagement with these screens. You don't notice it anymore, but it's very subtle. The best ones are just subtle, but they increase engagement or get you to, like, look in a certain direction, you know? So, yeah, this is working. This is good. Good job, everybody.
Looks good.
Yeah.
when you
good
press
job.
your little heart on Instagram and the heart comes up, that's... Where is she? We should have told her that.
Yeah, she's here. What's up, T? We got some chats here. Just oh, cool. She's making dinner. Awesome.
The heart on Instagram is the animation. That's what we live for, our little hearts and our likes, right?
Yeah, just one more like, right?
Oh, social commentary there.
I stayed away from social media, so I just got a LinkedIn. I'm like starting to learn. I'm like, maybe I should have had this a long time
LinkedIn.
ago. I know.
Tim,
I
Tim, I was
harbor
going,
much disdain for LinkedIn.
Tim, I was going to ask you, how did you start off with programming and coding?
I took CS50. CS50 was the first course I took. It's a Harvard X course on
The Harvard
edX.
course?
It's so
Really?
good. It was so challenging.
Wow.
It was overwhelming too because I was brand new to it. But the teacher was just so passionate about teaching, and David Mallon, he's so good. I love
Yes.
him, man. And
Did you
he's
go to the
just so
physical course or you did the YouTube?
No, I did the YouTube, but I stayed connected with people. Like I connected with people who were also taking the course, so it was just good. And the best thing about that course is it gives you like an overview of computer science. So you're like,
Science.
yeah, so you start to understand like, oh, I really like this and I don't like that at all. I want to go in this direction. You understand like what you like and what you don't. It gives you enough of everything where you start learning what you like and what you don't like. So yeah, and just feeling his passion, like watching him on stage, walking back and forth, explaining things in such a clear way, like starting to sweat 15 minutes in, just so passionate about it. It was really
It's so
cool.
good.
Yeah, it was so cool. I recommend that.
And
to
it's free.
everybody. And it's free.
Free.
I know. I know. So that's how I started. But I was on and off for I was on and off from like 2017 to 2019. 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't really taking it seriously. I was still just like going hard in my sales jobs, working like 60 plus hours a week every single week. And then when COVID hit, I started really taking it seriously.
Okay. Did you ever get any kind of interviews for a web development job, or you still do the sales?
I just left sales full time and I'm dedicating all my time to this right now. So I'm working on some personal projects with some close people and then I'm doing this, just doing some teaching.
Oh, okay.
I'm afraid to
Sounds
get
good.
a job in software because everybody I know who gets a job in software, then they give up on their personal projects, you know, like
Yes.
every time I talk to someone who gets a full-time job in sales, I'm like, hey, how's the job going? They're like, great, it's going good, I love it. I'm like, how's that project you were working on? They're like, oh, I haven't worked on that since I started my job. It's always the same thing every single time. So
Yeah.
it's like, and I get it too, because now you're coding 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, and you're gonna come home and do more coding. Like, no. Some people, but yeah.
That makes sense.
So yeah, I don't know if I like just teaching. I like just connecting and building the community and helping people learn. And I've seen so many people
Nice.
get good jobs at this point, like
Wow.
jobs at
Okay.
Discord and JP Morgan Chase and like big companies making over $100,000, full benefits, travel, relocation. Like I just
Wow.
really enjoy that. I love seeing people just develop professionally. It was the same thing on my sales team. You know, like I actually enjoy seeing people grow. I was telling a detail last night because we were having a conversation. I'm like, I just mentioned a couple people. I'm like, these people are in a month from now, they're gonna be phenomenal. I could just tell like who's gonna grow the
Most
fastest.
definitely.
Normally, it's the people who show up every day. Like that's
Yes.
that. Like if you're showing up every day, you're gonna grow faster than everybody else. That's like step one, you know. And it was the same thing with
Yeah.
the salespeople, the people who called out the least, the people who showed up 15 minutes early, who left 15 minutes late. Like that's step one. If you got that, that's half the battle right there, you know.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's me. Pretty simple.
Nice.
Yeah. How'd you get into it? What made you want to get into it?
For a while, I started off because I started off in this Facebook group, and I was gonna go for the A plus, the trifecta. So the A plus certification, the network, and the security plus.
Oh, nice.
But the tests were pretty hard. But for the simple fact that I already have experience in web design, and that's what I went to school for. So I figured, I always looked at as far as like creating apps and websites, that's part of art. So I always like to just enjoying putting things together, just figuring out stuff, doing code here, and just figuring out like if you miss either one piece of code, it could break the whole thing, and you have to figure that out. And that's something that was making me made me very interested in it because I've always been involved with computers. I've always been interested in computers. So, like a little bit in high school, I did a little bit of animation. I learned how to create a cartoon in high school. So I did all kinds of things in high school. And that's what I wanted to go to school for computers. And so, when I started learning about the web design, like first going into Dreamweaver, and I'm like, okay, this is how they make websites. I'm like, is this really how they make websites? So just putting like little gadgets together, just putting little things together, that made me very interested, and then starting to learn about how to make apps. And uh, and most of the time, I'm always playing games and stuff on my phone. I got all kinds of apps on my phone, so I'm like, why not just go for it? And then, I got a family member, he got a couple of ideas too, and he wanted me to help him with that. Put a
Oh, nice.
website together, put an app together, because he got so many ideas. So that's what actually, and that's where the money is too. So yes.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Cool, cool. It sounds like you're gonna move more towards the design thing than anything too. Have you ever thought about using the Adobe tools or getting more into the animations and the
Y-
design stuff?
Yes, that's why I actually wanted to get more into the designing. Like I enjoy Figma a lot.
Hmm.
I just got to get used to it,
Yeah.
and I started figuring out about the different plugins and um. But I actually want to know more because I see a lot of jobs that offer a lot of money when it comes to the full stack. But I just want to do a little bit at a time. So I want to know about the front end and the back end too. But I think the front end is where pretty much the jobs when they give you the tests or the programming tests, they want you to know about React and different frameworks.
Mm.
So I'm just doing baby steps just a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I actually want to do both. I actually want to go the full stack route, but I'm just going to do it a little bit at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's what's up. I think you were definitely onto something with the A plus and Network Plus certifications too. Every day when I sign off right now, I'm just reading the A plus book too. Like maybe I'll take the certification, maybe not. I'm just kind of just going through it one time, and I think that's super important stuff to know. I think every software developer should know the A plus, the network, and security. I think
Yes.
that separates you from everybody. If you go in and you interview and you come in with that knowledge plus you could program, that's like it's just
That's like a
it's rare.
wow
It's
thing.
rare. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But it takes time, you know. But it sounds like you're
Hmm.
actually putting in time every single day. A lot of people think it's like, oh, I need to code 8 hours a day. No, especially when you're first starting off and developing these habits. You know, I knew one person who he started coding and he was just doing like 8 hours a day every single day, and I was like,
Wow.
I've seen that before too in the sales
Wow.
industry, and it's like they're gonna burn themselves out, not because they can't do it, they can do it, but they don't have those habits yet. They're gonna start convincing themselves that this is not for them. They're gonna start this just I don't know
Yes.
why, but that just happens. And so the most important thing, especially when you're just starting to develop these habits, is like 15 minutes a day, every day, no matter
Yes.
what, even
Yeah.
on holidays, 15 minutes a day. And then
A
once you
little
do
bit of
that every
time.
single
Hmm.
day for 3 months, 30 minutes a day, every day,
Hmm.
no matter what.
Hmm.
You know, and
Hmm.
then over the course of that time, it's like you start developing these habits where a day doesn't go by where you don't code for at least an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, and that's just who you are now. You know?
Yes. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Give, give me just a moment, Jim. I know we're gonna go into the uh the code. Was it the nonprofit navigator?
Yeah, we're gonna hop over into the web development. That's the channel we're gonna be using for the nonprofit navigator. So I'll see y'all over there in a minute.
Okay, I'll hop over there. Let me go ahead and check in for class, and then I'm gonna hop over there.
Cool, cool. Hey, hey,
Hey, hey, hey.
back at it. Did I start this? Cool, cool. So there are a couple of things that we wanted to work on here. I know Ditya and I were planning on building a backend server so we could protect our API keys. But I don't know if we'll work on that today. I guess we'll just work on that whenever we have some time. Maybe not during class.
Yeah.
That seems like the best. Let's.
I mean, it won't take much time, but like, but it would at least like, I mean, take an hour, like by discussing and getting the data. So it would still like take an hour. But what we could do is like, we instead of like spending like entire time to build that, we could like spend like just 15 minutes on discussing that API for every like others can work on the UI, but like the main part, but we could like just spend like 15 minutes discussing about it, like step by step, and then that way like we can like connect the pieces later on. Automatically it will get connected.
Yeah. So I mean, people might want to. There might be a couple people who do have a certain level of skill who can join that and excuse me and see that as well. I just don't want people who are like not ready to. It just could be overwhelming for some people. But if they want to see, they can see. I was. Hey.
Hey,
What's up?
not much. I made it.
Yeah. Welcome. So I didn't know if Angel was going to be popping in here tonight. I know Angel wanted to do some styling on the cards. He was starting to make them look pretty good yesterday, and that was just like his second nature, just styling the cards, which was really cool to see. So if he hops in, then he could go ahead and work on that with somebody. It looks like... Yeah. So we'll just go ahead and get to it because we only have an hour for this. So do you want to discuss that API first, and then I'll kind of just take a look at where we are with the GitHub, and we could create some new issues for people who want to work on an issue either alone or as a team. Looks like
Yep, we can do that.
for desktop. Volunteer page. Some of these are just done.
So let me just like, let's make like steps, like defined steps of what to be done. For example, like I'm just creating like a, you can see my screen, right? Let me check. Oh,
Yes.
1 second.
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah.
It's not like zooming in.
No, I could only see your background. I can see your wallpaper, your desktop, not the program. If you're in
No,
the
no.
program.
So not the code. I'm talking about this notepad.
Yeah, we see that.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what I'm taking. But it's not zooming in. I think it doesn't zoom. But you can see like what's written, right? Or it's still like not visible.
Yeah,
No, we can read it.
I can see.
Okay.
Test the API on Postman.
Yeah. So that's one thing. So yeah, I mean, I would say like, so I'm not sure if you created the account yet.
Yeah, I got the keys.
Okay, great. So test the API on Postman, then create a Flask app. So it is Flask. I mean, you don't need to like do major settings. It's just a library actually.
Mm-hmm.
So one single Python file should be enough to build that entire endpoint.
Yep.
I'm not sure if we could do it with Java, but we need to create that Next.js project and all. That's a bit trouble. This is like just one single file.
Yeah, you could literally do it with just a single file in Node.js too.
Yeah, create APIs. So we'll see like what APIs through this Postman we can understand how many APIs and what APIs we need. So those many APIs we can create in this Flask app, and as soon as this is done, we can just deploy it in Heroku, or we can do it in AWS because I have AWS account and it's going to be free to deploy it. But Heroku I'm considering first priority.
Mm-hmm.
So what the heck was, yeah. So these are the 3 steps which we need to do. Once these are done, I think everything should be good.
Mm-hmm.
So like at least today we can just test the API on Postman. Then we can proceed to the next tasks later.
Okay. Let's wait to test the APIs on Postman, just because we'll do that just on the side since it's a little outside the scope of this event right here. I'd say we go ahead and see what issues people want to work on for now,
Okay, yeah, no worries.
and then we'll hop off because yeah, I want to try to keep it within the scope of just front end. It's a couple of times where I've been thinking about moving towards like back end type stuff, but I'm like, let's just keep it simple for now. But yeah, that is going to be an important part. And one of the reasons is, just so everybody knows, when you're working with front end applications, you don't want to have your API key stored on your front end. One reason is just because sometimes APIs, to make a request to an API, it costs money. So every API request can cost money. And if someone gets a hold of your API key, and instead of making like 500 API requests a day from people who are actually using your website, they could make like 1 million API requests in a second. You know what I'm saying? The APIs usually have rate limits on them as well, but it could definitely end up costing you money if the wrong person gets their hold on the API key. With this API, there's a rate limit on it anyways. It's free, and we have a test API key. So honestly, I'm not worried about anyone getting a hold of it. Like, we could just put it in the front end application, but it's just not good practice. It's just not good practice regardless, and I don't want to do that with a whole bunch of new people, especially people who are starting to develop habits. And yeah, I don't even want to do that. So Aditya and I will focus on doing that, just getting that up and running so that we're able to make requests to the server that we're creating, and all of the requests from our front end application that are going to the server that we're creating will make a request to the API, and then the API will send it to our server, and our server will send it back down to our front end. So just so everybody understands like why you don't want to put the API key in the front end. There are APIs where you don't need an API key to make a request, and you could just fetch data directly from the API. In that case, we would just do it directly from the front end. That's totally fine because those are just free and entirely open APIs. It doesn't matter who has those. They have rate limits on them anyways to control the amount of requests being made and all that stuff. So just for best practices, we'll sidestep that for now, and then we'll take a look at where we're at right now. So what did we work on? Let me pull open the branch. I think it was 22. 22 was the one that he made yesterday, right?
Do you mind?
Merged it to volunteer search, I think.
Oh, am I sharing? Yeah, am I sharing my
Yeah.
screen?
No worries.
What I said is like you merged it into volunteer search, right? So I think that should be the latest.
Yeah, so we could delete this branch here. Volunteer search. So main. We have our list, our function, and then this is the function that he created yesterday. All right, cool. So one of the things that Angel started doing yesterday, he's still not here, was just styling this card. Let me go ahead and actually pull up the code so everyone can see. Let's see. All right. So this is the current code. Let me make sure I'm on the right branch. Volunteer search card. All right, so I'm going to go back to get checkout, volunteer search. Oh, following files will be overwritten by checkout name. Please commit your changes or stash them. Let me see what changes I actually made here. So, modified main. That's actually okay. That's okay, because this is old code anyways. All right. Volunteer search. So, all right. So now I'm on the volunteer search branch. Let me go ahead and do a git pull so I could pull the code that he just did yesterday. All right. So now we have that code. All right, cool. So this is the code we need. Let me go ahead and just slide this in so we can see what it looks like. All right. So if we look at it in mobile form, we type in NSF, do search, and then we have our search cards. So he was starting to add some style to that. That's one thing that people could work on if they would like to work on this. Styling, though, I think the most important thing for us for this feature to keep things focused, although Angel did start styling it yesterday, if you look at the Figma, we're not really trying to style anything. We're not trying to make it look good right now. We just want the functionality to be there. So one thing that we don't have that we do need is this volunteer details page. I think this is a good project for today if everybody wants to work on this. And my suggestion is, instead of rendering it the way that we did it yesterday, so if you look at, this is the code that Angel and Tiffany created. This is just a JavaScript function that renders our card. So that renders this card right here. I want to go ahead and do it a different way for when we actually click on this card. When we click on this card, we're going to want this to pop up. We're going to want one of these pages to pop up so we could actually see details about the volunteer opportunity. And so instead of doing it programmatically through JavaScript like this, I would like to do it like this, where we just create like some markup with HTML. We'll actually do like, for something like this, looks like we'd probably just have our header, organization name. So we'd have like our header, up, maybe like a H2, organization info or whatever, and we'd go down and we just build the HTML like this. Then after we have the HTML that we want to inject into this here, if you look at our index, we have volunteer search details page 1. We want to inject the markup into this right here. Eventually we'll just have one div where what renders depends on where we are in the flow. But for now, we'll just inject it into here. So that's one thing. One of the things is just literally going down here. We have an H1. Here we have an H2. Here we have a paragraph. Here we have an H3. Here we have a paragraph. H3 paragraph. This would actually be a div. So this would be a div with the H3, some paragraph text, and then probably flexbox for just an image. And then same thing, H3, list, unordered list, H3, list, H3, list. So very, very simple HTML. So whoever wants to go ahead and build this markup, and then we could build a function to, we have show search results. We have build volunteer card. This would be, render details page, and we'd be passing in an ID so that we know which page to render. Are we rendering this card? Are we rendering this card? How do we know? How do we know which one we render? So that's all stuff we'll get to after we have the H1. We need that H1 first. Once we have the H1, then we could start figuring out how to actually get the correct one to render. And also, I just want everyone to see like a different way of doing it. And so when we click on the view on this card right here, there's going to be an ID of some sort attached to this card. So when you click on this card right here, the one that renders is this card, not this card. And so instead of organization info, we're going to be actually injecting JavaScript into it. So it's going to be like volunteer name. So I want everyone to see how we inject JavaScript into our HTML. We could do like text content and inject it programmatically through JavaScript, but it depends on the company you're working for. Like Aditya said yesterday, sometimes you got a boss standing over there and they're over you, and they're like, "We want it done this way." So that's one thing right there. Besides that, we do need some styling to the navigation. Just simple like getting rid of the borders of these two buttons, adding some padding, pushing them to the right, just some basic stuff. And then also, yeah, I mean, that's really it. And then we can start adding some more JavaScript. So do people want to work independently on those things with like 2 or 3 other people, or do you all just want to work together on it? Because I'm down for whatever.
I would like to work on the styling part. I want to try it. I've never done that. I might not be like super like curious, but I want to at least try once.
Like play around, like Angel was yesterday.
Yeah, just styling, like getting the style as per Figma. I mean the CSS part basically, which I don't like the most.
All right, cool. And you,
I want to try it. I want to do something like that.
cool. And then you want to just like this card here or something.
Yeah. I mean, like I'll try to mimic exactly like kind of what Figma is. So like me and someone else who wants to work, so we can try to mimic what exactly Figma is.
Cool.
I'm actually familiar with CSS. I can work with Aditya Adia on here.
I don't mind working with him either.
All right, cool. Looks like we have a couple new people. Actually, Javier, welcome back. Roll Pep, what's going on?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Where are you checking in from?
Cleveland.
From where?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay, cool. Welcome. All right. So Aditya, Tiffany, T, y'all can break out into one of the other rooms if you would like. One of the introduction, intermediate, or one of the JavaScript rooms in the newbie developer. And then whoever stays in here with me will just work on building this template string. T goes straight for the advanced one. Cool.
Okay, sounds good.
How long you been coding, Roll Pep?
Well, it's been a long journey. I went through a boot camp, then, that was pretty intense, and I really didn't pick up on anything. So then I went and got my associates and finished the bachelor's, but everything's so fast-paced, keep learning all the new technologies, and never really got a hold of all of it. I figured all the assignments out as I went, but still struggle to grasp everything.
Yeah. What was the format of the boot camp? Was it like on site with a teacher or?
Yeah, it was on site. It was before COVID.
Gotcha. What'd you learn there?
We did the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and it was like a 6-month boot camp 3 times a week. But it seemed like it was more geared toward people who already had experience, because everybody in the boot camp worked at an IT place already, and I knew nothing.
Huh. That's interesting.
That's tough.
Yeah, you must have been asking a lot of questions to the other students then if they were already in the tech field, huh?
Yeah, and they, now that I know more about it, I could see how they would get frustrated. Like, that's simple enough. Why don't you get it? But, that was pretty much it. But through the college experience, I've You know, we've done all of it plus Angular, Java, Spring Boot, you know, just a little bit of everything, but never really.
Diving deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a common theme I hear. Well, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you learn a lot here. Let me know what I could do to help. Cool, cool. So I am sharing my screen. We are going to go ahead and build an HTML template string inside of our JavaScript file, and we're going to use that to render our actual pages here. So what I want to do is, yeah, we'll build this template string, and then what I want to do is I want to modify this HTML so that we only have our main page. I want to cut all this HTML out, and we only want to target this main page, and we're going to render inside this main page what we need to. So hopefully we encounter a few errors, make some mistakes, and everybody gets to learn the hard way. And yeah, we'll go from there. So cool. If we look at our Figma file, you can see that we have this page here. This is the page that we're going to be building with markup. Let me go ahead and invite everybody in so everyone has a chance to type some code too. So for those who are new, we're all sitting in the web development channel right now. And so if you hover over the word web development, you're going to see 3 icons pop up. You're going to see an open chat, a create invite, and an edit channel. Click on open chat. And
If you're in full screen mode, it's the top right as well.
Full screen mode.
If you're in full screen mode, like it's the top, all the way at the top right, and it now has a little 1 in it.
Yep. Show chat, right? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
I kept exiting out, and I realized I didn't have to.
Gotcha. Cool. Learn something new every day. Thank you. So I just posted the link. Feel free to hop into the code editor, and we will get to it. Looks like Jake's in. I'll wait for Javier. And what is your name? Roll Pep. I don't know if that's your real name or.
No, my name is Roland. That's just short for Roland at Pepsi. That's where I work at Pepsi.
Oh, Roland.
Roland is my name.
Roland, like ROLAND?
Correct.
All right, cool. I'm going to change it so I don't forget. Roland. Cool. Pepsi's got to have some good tech opportunities when you actually develop the skills, you know.
Yeah. Well, they're mostly in Chicago and New York. Guys that here where I'm at, they're just like hardware guys.
We'll just do Jake. We'll just do text for now. I was just giving you an example of where we're going.
Okay.
So yeah, let me go ahead and I guess we'll give everyone an opportunity. It looks like it's just Jake and Javier right now, so I'll go ahead and let's literally just recreate exactly what we see. So a header of volunteer opportunity. Boom. Who wants to go ahead and type that H2? And then we got a paragraph down here. If you want to go ahead and type that paragraph, Javier, I'll go ahead and do the H3. We'll just get this done. Bust this out as quick as we can.
Am I literally typing in paragraph? Is that what I'm understanding?
A paragraph tag, and then just this you don't have to do this. You could just get like some text off the internet, just whatever, like filler text, you know.
I'm not sure I follow.
So, you know what a paragraph tag is?
I got it. I can help them. Right. So we'll do bracket P. That's per paragraph. That's an HTML, a paragraph thing. And this is a paragraph entered by the NPO about a brief overview of the volunteer.
Oh.
Hey. My screen disappeared.
Oh, was it me? Here, I'm gonna send you this too, Javier. This is like the only resource you really need to understand HTML elements. I'm gonna post it in the chat.
Okay.
Just so you have that. That has a list of all the different HTML elements. So you can see like head, link, meta, body, aside, semantic elements. All these are headers. We have like
About to see the P here.
yeah, we got the P is right
P
here,
right
so
there.
represents a paragraph. These are all the different options you have for HTML elements and when
BR is a line break.
Yep.
Cite's a citation. M is emphasis. I think that's bold.
Yep.
I is italic.
Yeah, so
And
this
some of those I've never even seen.
yeah, check it. Feel free to check it out.
Cool.
All right,
Thank you,
so we
guys.
have cause areas, and then we have another paragraph. I'm gonna have you do one of the paragraphs. Advocacy and human rights, community, immigrants and refugees. All right, and then we have another H3 and a paragraph. So does someone want to do the H3 and someone do the paragraph?
I'll do the H3.
All right. You could give the paragraph a shot if you want, Javier. Just look at the other paragraphs that were done. You basically have an opening tag and a closing tag. So the opening tag is right before the text entered. Closing tag is once you finish the text. And then this one, the next one, Jake, is going to be a div containing an H3, paragraphs, and you could do a div for now since we don't actually have images. That works. Cool. I'll actually wrap these because we're gonna do we're gonna use Flexbox. So we're gonna have this container on the left side and then the image on the right side, and then we just need a closing. Cool. So we have our left container, we have our right container, and then boom. All right, so we have an H3 with an unordered list, an H3 with a paragraph, and an H3 with an unordered list. And then that's basically good. No styles, so it's going to look so fancy. Yeah, you're doing good. You're right on. You're on the right track, Javier. H3 skills. Mentoring. Veteran care. Let's go ahead, copy paste these bad boys. Arabic. Skills. Cool. So for here, Javi, you have the opening tag, so now you just need the text in between and the closing tag. And since you're doing when, you could just type in like will work with your schedule in between the opening and the closing tag, and that should be good. So we need an H3. Good for another paragraph. Another H3 requirements and another unordered list. Boom.
I'm sorry, what did you want me to include in the
Oh,
paragraph on 88?
so if you look at the H3, it says when. If you look on the left on my screen, the Figma file, just beneath the when header, it just will work with your schedule is the text there. But you could really put anything. This is
Oh, I
just
see.
this is just placeholder stuff. Driver's license. Background check. Must be at least 18. Orientation for training. Perfect. I've never heard of an ing tag.
Huh?
I've never heard of an ing tag, Jake. What's that?
Training?
An ing tag? I'm just playing because you got the bracket on the left side of the ing.
I don't see that, but I see a missing bracket on yours right here.
No, that's not a missing bracket. Wait, it must be.
Must be at least 18. Close your bracket.
No, you just put an extra bracket. You're seeing something different than me then.
113.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing something different than you are.
Yeah,
I'm looking at your screen. I'm not seeing that doubled up on my screen.
There we go.
I'm gonna try refreshing.
All right, cool. So we'll work with your schedule. Awesome. All right, so we have our markup and you know what? We're working on the volunteer search branch. That's not good. That's okay. We'll be good as long as we're not working on the main branch. So let's check this out. What we want to do, NSF. So let's go ahead and when we click on one of these cards, no matter what card we click on, it always renders this markup. It gets rid of the markup that we're seeing and it renders this markup here. So let's see. One of the things we can do is we could go ahead. Actually, we'll wait on that. I kind of want to do it step by step for everyone. So when you click on one of these cards, we want to render the markup. And so let's look at build volunteer card, show search results. So show search results. We're looking at the search results div. That's right here. So that's going to fill up our search results there. This is our volunteer search page. So when we click on show div. So here, what we're doing to show a div, we're going to switch this up a little bit. So we're not going to have to, right now, we're basically taking this main div, this main element, and we have 5 divs inside of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so there's actually a lot of steps to do this. There's like, I don't know if we'll be able to finish it in 20 minutes, but we could start it at least. So basically what we want to do is we want to render everything inside of this page right here. When we first load up this page, like when we first get to this website, we want this to load, right? Like we want this to be the first thing that loads. And so I'm just gonna go down to our I'm just gonna do render home. That's what we want to happen. We want to render our home page when we land on this website. And so we have our navigation, we have our footer regardless, and we're actually going to cut out all these divs right here. What we want to render though, when we land, when we navigate to this website, is just this div right here. This div with this box. And so let me ask you, if we call this render home function and we want to render our home page, what does our JavaScript function need to look like? Yeah. This might be a little just advanced. Maybe Jake, you'll know. I know Javier, you're newer. And Roland, you might know. You went to the boot camp, so I'll throw it out there. I'll give you all just a couple seconds to think about it. Let me ask you this. So when do we want to render home?
When we load the home page.
When we load the home page. So we have to listen for something, right?
On load.
We have to listen for the load. So how do we listen for the load?
It's not on load.
Event listener.
Event listener, exactly. So there's a few different ways to do this, but can anyone think of one off the top of their head?
On click or hover.
Well, we're
it's
not at
loading, so
yeah,
right.
we're not actually looking for someone to. We're not actually looking for the user to interact with anything. We're waiting for the browser to do something, and so
Add event listener load event.
yes, on
Onload equals event.
on what object? Let me ask that.
On the oh no. Here we go with what you were explaining earlier about the confusion of calling it events and then the JavaScript event. Like, what I'm looking up right now has event in brackets, and I'm like, oh, exactly what he was talking about.
Yeah.
What about window onload versus document onload? Window onload by default is fired when the entire page loads, including its content, images, CSS. Document onload is called when the DOM is ready, which can be prior to images and other external content is loaded.
So if we have styles applied to our home page, do we want to wait until
we want window onload.
Perfect. So you could do window onload, or you could do window add event listener. And then the first argument you pass in is load.
I was just gonna say, is what past load?
Yes.
It's always more one way to skin a cat in programming, huh?
Oh my goodness, that's like one of the most
17
frustrating.
ways.
That's why I hated Express.js when I first started, because it's so minimalist that there's just like a dozen ways to do everything, whereas
It's frustrating because you want to know like the way, you know, you don't want to learn 17 ways to do it.
Yes,
You want to learn
yes.
the best way.
yeah, the standard. Well, I guess if you have like 10 years of experience and you've built servers with other languages, Express is the way to go. But if you're brand new, you just want to go with like a framework that has standards, like Flask. Aditya was saying he wants to build it in Flask. Like, there's a way to do things with Flask. This is how you do things. It's easier for beginners, for sure. Though Node.js does have some easier ones, like Restify. Restify has like kind of their way of doing things. There's another one too. I think Fastify is even more strict. But yeah, all right. So window on load. We do need an event listener. Window on load, and we will execute that render home.
I'm out of my element.
Yeah, you just deleted my function.
I didn't even mean to. I feel like my thing's acting weird again.
Nah, you're good. So I would add event listener. I think onload is the way that they used to do it. I think it's like an older way of doing things, like how the old way of fetching data was XML HTTP request, and then they came out with fetch. So fetch is like just the modern, better way of doing things. Yeah, you don't want to use onload, I believe.
So it'd be window.add event listener.
Window.add event listener. Yep. And then I'll go ahead and create the render home function here. We'll just do const render home equals this. All right.
No.
So I'll just look up like, let's do Stack Overflow. I'm gonna search, how do I create an onload event listener? Not even that. Create window onload event listener. It's wild how many other things. We'll do this one. You said that you searched it though, so you should have. I was just about to ask you, like, how do you actually create the event listener? But you should have it. So instead of doing, here, take a look at one of the other event listeners. We have an event listener on line. Actually, he added all the event listeners to. Yeah, he added our event listeners to. Actually, there should be an event listener for show search results.
Yep, it's right down there, 119.
119. There we go. There we go. You see line 120, Jake?
Mm-hmm.
So just like that, same thing. Window.add event listener, parentheses, and then the first argument is going to be the name of the event, and the second one is going to be the function we actually want to execute. I'm waiting for people to start like complaining. It's coming. It's coming.
About what? How crappy I am?
Nah. Nah. They already started doing that, Jake.
Great.
I'm just playing. You're good. No, we're at line 140 right now. Just think about it. You know, like next week, we're going to be at line 250. The week after, we're going to be at line 350. Right now, I already had trouble finding an event listener, you know, so soon we're going to be like, I can't do this in one file anymore. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for that pressure. So you don't actually need a string here. And you don't actually need the curly braces either. You should just be good just like that. So we won't have to call it here anymore. This will call when the window loads. Cool. So on render home, what do we want to do? We know that we want to place this inside the main page, right? So we're going to render all of our content inside of the main page, regardless of whether it's our home page, our volunteer search page, or one of our details pages. We're going to be rendering it inside of our main page. So before we can inject our main page with our home page, what do we have to do? How do we tell JavaScript, take this code and put it inside of that code?
Inject.
I guess inject maybe might not be the right word, but that's basically what we're doing. So take this code and put it inside of that code. So
Wrap it.
we need this code, quote unquote this code, and we need a way to point to that code, right? So I'm trying to use as simple English as possible and let y'all like figure out the lingo. I'll give you a couple of hints here and there. So let's just say point to the div we want to insert is the good word. Insert our home page. Create our home page. And insert our home page into our main container, we'll say. So this is the 3 steps that we need for our render home. So we need to point to the div we want to insert our home page in. If you go back to our index.html, the one that we want to insert our home page into is our main element. So we'll just go ahead and we'll say main. So how do we point to an element? How do we get a reference to an element?
Are you gonna do like a? So you're gonna. I don't know. I'm thinking now. You do like a fetch and then wait on the response?
Nope. So actually, I see it. We're actually creating a reference to our main element here. And then we're getting its children. So we actually don't need its children on this one. We just need the
Next element sibling.
Nope. So we actually just need the reference to the main page. So to point to one of our elements, we just do a get element by ID. Document.getElement by ID.
Yeah.
Because we just need a way to say like that element.
Okay.
Know, to point
That's easy enough.
To point to
I like that
element. So feel free to, if you look at our index.html, you can see it has an ID of main page. So feel free to, you could literally just copy this document.getElement by ID, paste it here, and create a new variable to place it in. Whoever wants to give that one a shot. Who's in here? Javier, Roland. Jake's got it. Cool. So we have to place it inside of a variable so we could use it on line 138. Huh. He actually left out a let keyword here, which would actually put this on the global scope, which you don't want. Alright. Yeah. So very similar to here. I just want to use a name that's like that unreadable. Main page div children. You could literally just call it like main. Just seems simple, you know. Equals main. Yeah, that looks good. Cool. And then we need to create our home page. But the thing is, we don't need to create our home page because we already have our home page. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this home page out of here. And I'm going to paste it right here. This is our home page. So we can't just leave it here like this. We're not going to need this on-click anymore. This on-click was only necessary if we were going to have to display one of our pages and set the other pages to none. But since we're going to be rendering all of our pages dynamically with JavaScript, we're just going to cut that out right there.
You cut it out.
I cut it out. Here, you cut it out. Get the hands-on experience, Jake. There you go. We don't need that. As long as you understand why we don't need it, that's the important thing. And so we have this div here, but we can't just, we need to actually wrap this up. So let's go back up. We actually created some HTML that we're going to inject somewhere else up here. We created some HTML on line 81. So just look at that right there. From line 81 to line 117, we have some markup. So we're doing the same thing with this home page that we did with that markup. So we're going to wrap it in a template literal, and we're going to store it in a variable. So I'll go ahead and jot down those notes. Wrap our HTML in a template literal. Store that template literal inside a variable. So feel free. Who wants to do that? Jake just did something. We got Javier and Roland. Do one of you want to do it?
I'm still trying to get my feedback going in it.
That's okay. All right. So here, you're in here though, right?
Yeah.
So just start right before the div. And you want to wrap this HTML in a template literal, right? This HTML here in a template literal. Do you know what a template literal is?
I don't.
No.
So it's just a backtick. So if I'm talking about a string, this would be a string. This is also a string. You could use double quotes or single quotes for a string. A template literal, the symbol for a template literal is on the left of the 1. So it's just the backtick. And this is a template literal. And the reason why we call it a template literal is because with strings, if I wanted to concatenate 2 strings, I would have to do like this. But in JavaScript, if you use a template literal, you could just inject JavaScript directly into your strings. So it makes it usually more readable, easier to use. So that's what you want to do. You want to wrap this in a template literal. So instead of using double quotes, you just want to use the backtick. So place a backtick before our HTML and after our HTML.
I'm still a little confused.
So do you see the template literal symbol on the left of your 1?
Yeah, I see that.
So just put your cursor right before the div and click that button.
Just put that little backtick there.
There you go. And then click.
And put the
click
other
your
one at the end of the div.
Yep. At the end of the div.
Oh, my bad.
So right here, you're good. There you go. You just wrapped our HTML in a template literal. Good job.
I just learned something new.
There you go. All right, now you want to store this template literal inside of a variable. So before our template literal on line 138, just create a variable like let HTML equals line 138 right before. There you go. Let HTML or markup. You could call it whatever you want, really. It's a variable, so
Yeah,
markup, and then just equals our template literal.
Missing your backtick before the div.
No, I see it.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, now I see it.
We'll actually just restructure this a little bit. Oops. There we go. So now we have our markup. So let me delete this pseudocode that we have now, just to clean this up a little bit. So we have our main, we have our markup, and now we just need to insert our home page into our main container. So we want to take this main reference and we want to insert our HTML into this main element. So we're going to be calling a function on main, or a method technically, because the function lives inside of the main object. So we're going to be doing main dot something and then parentheses, and we're going to put the markup inside of those parentheses. So how do we insert HTML into...
I feel like it's that inner HTML.
Inner HTML equals.
Inner HTML is one option. That works. That works. Go ahead. Do it up.
Do we still have to do the document get element by ID?
We already got.
And the
We got that. So you could literally just do main dot
Inner HTML.
yeah.
main dot inner HTML and then pass in the markup. There you go.
Dot markup.
Yep. No, parentheses markup.
Parentheses, pass it through, pass it in.
Yep. There you go. Nice.
Well done,
Maybe
Roland.
semicolon at the end.
Yep.
Yep.
There you go. Nice. You built 2/3 of this function, man. Nice. All right. Moment of truth.
I was just gonna say, is this the moment of truth?
Moment of truth. Let's check it out.
Wah, wah.
Oh,
Yeah, as expected.
nothing's happening. We're just seeing volunteer. Is there an event called onload, or is it something else? If you do window onload, that might work. But is it onload in here? Like if I'm doing a click, am I doing on click or am I doing just click?
Oh, just load. Take the on off.
Try it out. Let's try it out. Nope.
Just kidding.
Nope. It's not working. What's going on here? So it's going directly to our volunteer page. So we do still have our volunteer page on here. We're going to create a function called render volunteer page. We're also going to create a function called render search details page. These are later going to be views. But let me see if I could see something that's like obvious right now because it's 8 o'clock. But let me just see. So it is load. You were right about that. It's not on load. But let me see. So we have render home window dot load add event listener. That looks good. Render home by ID main page. Yes, that's our markup. Inner HTML. I think it might actually be this. And then nothing else has to do with it, though we do have the show div function, which should not be executing on load anymore because we don't have any event listeners on the home page. So this function is irrelevant for right now. This is show search results, so this is on our search button, which is only on that page, which should not be getting rendered. Then we have our volunteer card, which again should be good. Show search results, that's totally separate. And then show volunteer list page. This is actually an old function, so I'm going to go ahead and just delete this entirely. Function to show page, to show home page. All right, cool. So we'll try this out. This should be good, and then we'll go from there. There we go. So what it was just the inner.html. Instead of, it's not a function, it's actually a property that exists on there. So you're just assigning the markup to this property. It's not actually a function. So, but that's good. That's good. Mistakes are good. You learn more that way. But yeah, So we have our home page rendering now. We are good to go. When we click this home page, when we click this volunteer card now, though, we're not going to our search page. So before we sign off, does anyone know why when we click on this here, it's not going to our search page?
No.
Is it because we don't have anything that says on click? No.
Exactly. Exactly. So we are going to have to add an event listener.
You just gotta spell it all out for JavaScript, don't you?
You really do. You really do.
And you have to tell it how to breathe too?
Hey,
Yes, it
that's just programming at the end of the day, though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Telling it all what to do. And then also telling it what to do when what you told it to do didn't work out.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
You got to be specific. Well,
You're just constantly telling it what to do.
well, until you get to React, which is a declarative language, so you're able to just it's tough to explain. But
Did Facebook write React?
yeah, but then they
Thought
open
so.
sourced it. Yep. All right, cool. Good job tonight, everybody. That was awesome. We got a lot done. I'm gonna go ahead and I know they're just working on the styles.css, so I'm gonna go ahead and let's check the status. So we modified index.html and main.cs, so that means we didn't do anything to the styles. There will be no merge conflicts as long as they didn't touch anything we touched. And if they did, it's okay. So we're gonna commit. We're gonna say render home page with JavaScript. Git push. All right, let me just go over to GitHub. Volunteer search had recent pushes. Cool. So if we check out our, all right, cool. All right, so we got all this code here. Cool. Looks good. We're not going to push it into main until we're actually done with this feature, but yeah, good job. Good job. Does anyone have any questions before we sign off? Let me, I'm going to pop down into theirs and just let them know that we're going to be switching over to the data structure algorithm event, and I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Yeah, you can see
Hey,
what we are doing.
Hey.
we made progress.
Nice. Let me see.
Yeah.
Again, I'm
Yes.
just like,
Yes, most definitely.
I'm just adding one thing.
We were trying to figure out how to make the image large to the screen to fit the screen. We were having a bit of an issue there, but I think getting rid of margins, getting rid of like excess stuff that didn't need to be there. And so we were thinking with that, I don't know if you saw that real quick, but underneath that we want to add like more information about the volunteer, you know what I mean?
Did
It's
you
not
guys
really on the Figma, but I guess yeah. What
This
do
is
you
how
think?
it looks for now.
I like it. Oh, you changed the home page? We changed the home page too. We extracted the home page out of the HTML and we're rendering it with JavaScript now.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we have just added a styling. You can keep the styling, like the tags and all.
Cool. Yep, that's what we did.
I mean,
Sounds
the
good.
IDs and all, you can see like in this homepage how the IDs are. You can use those IDs and the styling file would be the same.
Yep, cool. All right.
And we
awesome.
decided to go with this image because there's a volunteer right there on it, so it's like killing two birds with one stone. You know what I mean?
True. That's super clear.
I
Nice.
like the color too. Yes.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, this color I used it from here. So in Figma, if you click here, you can get the color.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, that looks
So-
good. That looks good.
Yeah.
Then I'll go ahead and I'll paste the code. It's in the volunteer search branch, but I'm gonna paste it in the chat right now just so you guys could get a little sneak peek of what we did.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome.
There you go.
Sounds good.
That's basically it right there.
Okay.
Mm. Yep.
Great. I think we're gonna continue finishing this page, but I don't know, like, what are your thoughts, Jim? Like, can we add another section of here, like, describing what this whole organization's about? Like, volunteers, our mission is blah, 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 and such, or how do you want the yellow page to look? I don't know.
No,
The yellow-
it's up to everybody. It's not up to me. I mean, yeah, if you want to build a marketing message and put that on, feel free to just create a new branch and push it to that branch. Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we'll check out any changes together as a group too, like tomorrow when we come back. So yeah, we'll check it all out as a group. And you know, we have this image and we have these messages and all this stuff, but it's like it's important to just have something down there, you know, because
Yes.
it's just something to start with. So yeah, totally.
So not confetti this time?
Confetti, I was actually just gonna bring that up. I was hoping it would be confetti.
Yeah, exactly.
So are we meeting again Monday or are we off tomorrow, Friday?
Yeah, Friday's off, Monday through Thursday. We'll be back here 6 p.m. For the intro to JavaScript, and then we'll be Bootcamp at 7. Yep.
Sounds good. Okay.
But feel free to, I definitely want to work on this even just throughout the week when I have time and that sort of thing, so.
Okay.
Yeah, if you think of
so
think of something like T was just like, hey, can I add a marketing message? And you're just like, hey, I kind of want to work on this feature right here. Just let me know and I'll create an issue for it, and you could create a branch and you could go ahead and just bust something out if you want to.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I had to see what, because I'm pretty much free this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, so I would like to do a little bit more coding, but I'm not too sure if you have did any tasks yet in GitHub.
No, I'm cool with just like meeting as a group Monday through Thursday, and we just like kind of
okay.
evaluate where we're with the project, and we just choose like 1 or 2 tasks to work on, either as separate groups or all together as a group, and go from there. But once people,
Okay.
I'm expecting people to start telling me like, hey, I want to do this.
Okay.
You know, because eventually
still have
everyone's going to
the,
be comfortable, and they're just going to be more driven to build one thing or another. So once people start saying like, hey, I really want to do this, I'll just create an issue independently for you, regardless of whether we're in class or not.
Okay. Are we still doing the multiple pages thing, the robotics and the portfolio?
Not right now. I want to do I really want to focus on JavaScript for now. Yeah.
Oh, sounds good. Okay. I'll
Yeah.
just do that as a practice then.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
If you're still doing
And
your
then,
portfolio though, I could definitely help out with that. So like rebuild
Yes,
it up.
I haven't got a chance to start it yet, but I'm gonna start on it this weekend.
Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, let me know what you need.
Okay.
I got you.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Jim.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
All right, I'm hopping
Thank you,
over
Jim.
into, yep, thank you. I'm hopping into data structures and algorithms.
Okay.
All right, have a good night.
All right, you too. See you.
Bye, TL. Bye, Addie.
Bye.
Bye. Tiff.
Hey. So, I wonder, today's problem, I actually only did the easy problem. I'm still working on the medium problem from yesterday because I'm doing it in C, so I'm still learning a little bit as I go and do these problems. But I found the simplest solution for the easy one today. Like I started off with actually building logic, which it was like 18 lines of code, and then I realized how dumb I was for writing any logic and how simple this problem really was. But let me see. We'll give it, actually it's 8:12, so we'll just get started. Give me 1 second just to make sure.
Sorry, Jim. Did I miss the web development class today?
Yeah.
Okay, it said it was on the thing. It said it was at 8. So
Yeah,
I didn't get the
I'm
memo.
moving it to 7 an hour earlier.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll keep track of that for next time.
No, you're
Yes,
good.
next.
I was waiting for you a couple minutes in the beginning too. I was like, is Angel gonna be here tonight? I know he wanted to do some styling.
Yeah, I was planning on it. I had a whole anniversary dinner, and I was planning to come back by 8. That's when I thought it was. But
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
How was the dinner?
it was good. We went to a little spot in Central Park. It was really dope.
Nice,
Well, not in
nice.
Central Park, but near Central Park. So yeah,
Cool.
it was dope.
It's a nice location too.
Yeah.
Aditya T and Tiffany did a little styling on the homepage, so
Oh, nice.
it's starting to look good. It's actually starting to
That's
look
good.
good. So yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, a little style goes a long way.
I know, it really does. Yeah, so we'll go over it. Actually, today's Thursday, so we'll go over it on Monday.
Okay, so tomorrow we don't. Okay, so we don't meet tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good because I
Tomorrow-
have a school chat that got moved to tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
At
Yeah,
8.
yeah. Tomorrow we have the machine learning. We actually just started a really cool project on the machine learning one. We finished chapter 2, so we did an end-to-end machine learning project, and now we just created the Jupyter notebook, and we just imported New York City taxi data, and so we're using that New York City taxi data to predict the duration of a current trip. So that's a real project where we're just like we're going for it. We're just starting to like visualize and analyze the data, and yeah, we're gonna build a model. So it's pretty cool. It's like good hands-on stuff, you know.
Awesome. I'm really interested in cybersecurity. Do you have any classes?
Nothing,
Related to that?
nothing yet, at least. But a lot of people are interested in that, and Jake was talking about it the last couple of weeks, and I just started going through like Hack the Box. I just signed up for one of their courses, and I was starting to.
Yeah.
I just don't
Hack Me, Angel.
try Hack Me too.
I've
Jump
done
on
Hack the Spots. I got that one. And then, did you guys ever check out that podcast I suggested?
No, did you
I
post
don't know
it
what that
somewhere?
is. What is it?
It's called the YouTube name is Jack Reciter, and he has
Yeah,
a podcast
Darknet
called
Diaries.
Yeah, man, so
Mhm.
good.
Can you
So
post
good.
it somewhere? Can you post it in resources?
Of course, yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, check that out. Yeah, cybersecurity. Me and Aditya were talking about that earlier. Like, it's a whole nother thing, you know. And that world alone is just so massive. So it's like, man, I'm really biting off more than I could chew trying to do anything.
Yeah,
more than I'm-
cybersecurity's mad. It's such a broad spectrum and so much to know, like so much technical stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have people that just like download a tool and can hack a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I'm down to hosting it. Like, if someone wants to host an event, I'm down to like advertise it through the groups that I have. So just keep me posted, but I'm not going to be able to actually post anything
I
personally.
mean, if you want, Jim, like I host once a month for the DC 919 group, which is DEF CON, and 919 is the area code for Raleigh. Like, they have different groups for different area codes kind of thing. But I host like usually like once a month. And so what we do is we just go to Try Hack Me, and we pick like an easy box. And I mean, I would like to do it a little bit different in the sense, like I told you, I always love when someone's sharing a screen, and I find that 9 times out of 10 on any of these hacking things, like nobody's sharing a screen.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because people are just either afraid of leaking data and they feel like there's a bunch of hackers in there that are just going to come take all their stuff, or like what it is, but no one ever shares a screen. And like, I just feel like by not doing that, you could have a newbie who's just caught up on something so stupid that if they could just see what it was, they would click on the right thing, or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
by not seeing, you can be held really behind a walled garden kind of thing, trying to look over or figure it out. And so if you want to maybe like start maybe like one a month or whatever, I could help you with that. I could help like lead and run it kind of thing.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Cool. Welcome,
Hello.
welcome. All right, cool. So we will get to it. We have, if you look in the problems of the day channel, we have 4 problems. The hard problem has stayed the same for the last 4 days, so we'll continue working through those through the weekend. Today, I chose an easy problem called count of matches in tournament, and the medium problem I didn't even get to. I'm still working on the medium problem from yesterday, so we'll see if anyone else has the medium problem. But let me go ahead and open up this easy problem, and we will check it out. So
I do have the one.
cool. So 1688, count of matches in tournament. You're given an integer n, the number of teams in a tournament that has strange rules. If the current number of teams is even, each
Jim, you're not sharing.
Oh, my bad. Thank you.
It's okay.
If the current numbers of teams is even, each team gets paired with another team. A total of n divided by 2 matches are played, and n divided by 2 teams advance to the next round. If the current number of teams is odd, one team randomly advances in the tournament and the rest gets paired. A total of n minus 1 divided by 2 matches are played, and n minus 1 divided by 2 plus 1 teams advance to the next round. Return the number of matches played in the tournament until a winner is decided. So you can see if the number of teams starting the tournament is 7, the number of teams is odd. And so the number of matches played is 7. So n, which is 7 minus 1, which would be 6 divided by 2, which is 3. So 3 matches are played, and 7 minus 1, so 6 divided by 2 equals 3 plus 1. 4 teams advance. Now, it's there are 4 teams, and so the number of teams are even. And so the total matches played is n divided by 2, so 4 divided by 2, which is 2. 2 matches played, and 2 teams advance, because also n divided by 2 teams advance when it's even. Then we have 2 teams left. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 1 match was played. 1 team is declared the winner. And if you add up the 3, 2, and 1, how many matches were played? It's a total of 6. If you have 14 teams, you're doing the same thing. It's starting as 14. That's even, so you're doing divided by 2 for both matches and teams. Then 7, so you're just ending up where we started off on this one here. And you end up with 13 matches played. 7, 3, 2, and 1. So I have a solution for this, but it's super like kind of dumb. I know you all might have just seen it in LeetCode and thought to yourselves like, no, that can't be the solution, but it is. But does anyone else have a solution? Because I did start drawing out the logic at first, and then I was like halfway through drawing out the logic, and I'm like, I wonder if this will work, and it did work. But does anyone else want to give it a shot first?
Yeah, I have a solution if you want to see it.
Cool. Go ahead.
And also that's something interesting because I passed the code in LeetCode. It was approved, and then I realized that I did the same LeetCode problem 2 years ago with a different solution using recursion. So if you want to check that also, that'd be interesting to see.
Cool. Yeah, go ahead, share if you would like. I'll stop sharing. There you go.
Okay. So as Jim explained the problem, have teams and matches. You basically the first thing that I did was if there's only one team playing, and remember this is like the amount of teams. If you go to the problem, you see that n is the teams. We could change it to teams, doesn't matter. But they chose n. So if n is equal to 1, there's only one team playing this tournament, which means they won. So just return 0 because if there's one team, there's no tournament. So we return 0 because there are no matches. I should read the comments instead of just improvising. Yeah, if there's only one team, there are no matches, so return 0. That makes sense, right? You can't play by yourself. After that, you initialize the matches variable. Here you're gonna it's like a counter. You're gonna start counting every time there's a loop in the while loop. You're gonna add to the matches variable. So run while if there is more than one team still in the tournament. So that's why the condition here is n is bigger than 1, because as we know, if there's only one team, no matches. So case 1 is matches is an even number. If it's to check if it's an even number, you use n modulus 2 equals 0. you know, that means there's no remainder, and therefore we go through this block of code here. So what happens that we just basically copy paste the formula that was given by the problem, but we're adding to the variables. So this is basically this just written in a more classy way, I guess. I don't know how to define it. But after you add the matches, you need to recalculate you know, the amount of teams, because because it could have been the case that one of the last loop was an odd one, and you want to make sure that maybe I'm wrong here, Jim, but that was my reasoning. So you want to make sure that your n is like correct. This is also a way to do like n equals n divided by 2, because that's the remember, n equals team. So there you go. If matches, which is n, is sorry, if matches is an even number. Wait, and what am I doing? Teams is an even number. So sorry. Yeah, I'm a bit confused, guys. Sorry, it's been tough couple of days.
You're good.
Let's go again. So n is teams. If teams is an even number, then we run this block of code. We add the matches using the formula that was given by the problem, and we redefine the number of teams. We cut it by half. Like I said, it's basically this, right? We're redefining n as its half. The other case that teams is a not number, in which case you want to run a different set of formulas, right? The same idea here. You're adding to the matches counter, which is outside the while loop, using a different calculation, right? Like if you check matches here, it's n divided by 2, and this one, since it's odd, you want to have n minus 1 divided by 2. And just like the other case, you have to redefine the number of teams. And the formula is given to you by the problem, so you shouldn't have a lot of difficulty finding that out. So this is going to run until n is equal to 1 or less than 1 or whatever, but it's going to be equal to 1. And then after that, it's going to get out of the while loop and return the accumulated matches that we've been accumulated since the start of the while loop. And I just ran this, but I can run it again. 7, 6, 14, 13. And by the way, I haven't really tried, but if if the solution is n minus 1, I'll be pissed. Okay, Jim, but I haven't tried that. It would be funny to see. But anyway, I passed. Sorry, yeah, there we go with all the nice comments, right? I forgot to remove them. But the funny thing is that I did it back in April 6, 2021.
That's
and
funny.
I did recursion. And as you can see the time complexity is pretty bad, but memory is pretty good for some reason. It makes no sense because we're using recursion. Maybe Jim knows why. But yeah, it's the same thing. The only difference is that as long as n is bigger than 1, you're just calling the function. Otherwise, you're returning the matches. But yeah, that's
Cool.
That's
nice. Awesome. Yeah, I did do. I'll go ahead and just pull up my code very quickly, and I'll share mine as well. I wonder if anyone else.
I'll stop sharing then.
Yeah. Cool. DSA. All right. So let me share my screen really quickly. And yeah. So this is, so I was building basically the same code that you had here. I hadn't done. I had to do +1, and I was actually I had a bug somewhere in my test case, which was like I built these test cases so that I could test them and see. Because I build my test case in my main function just to get like more muscle memory and hands-on experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something wrong with my test case, but the code was pretty good. But if you look at leak code, this
Oh,
solution
come on,
actually,
really?
yeah, because I realized that when I was building my test cases that I had 7
way.
was 6, 14 was 13, 1 was 0, 200 was 199. So I'm like, oh, it's always just 1 less than n. Yeah, so I tried it and I was like, return
I did not
return
try.
n minus 1, and I tried it and it passed all the cases. So I was like, all right, that's good. I was overthinking it, man.
Yeah, this is a very eliminating moment. Like, if you're a senior, you're gonna try. That's why Jim tried and I did not.
You gotta
'Cause
try.
he
You
has
gotta
more
try.
experience. Exactly.
No,
That-
it's
that's
not
the
experience.
place
It's
not
just
to-
lazy. It's laziness and curiosity, bro.
Because I was like, okay, it just can't be that. You know, it's impossible. It
Yeah.
would be too silly.
Yeah.
But,
No, I know. I didn't know if it was gonna work, and then it worked. Does anyone else have the solution?
101.
Does anyone else have the solution, either a different algorithm or in a different language?
Mine is Python.
Cool. Yeah, let's
but,
check it out.
It's the same thing. I mean, like, it's not different.
That's fine if you want to just show us
Yeah,
like
I
the
can-
Python syntax. That'd be cool.
So, yep, this is how it looks. So, like, match played and number of teams is n. And while the teams is greater than 1, you basically just do this. So the reason of doing like double divide is basically it considers the int value, not the float value. So the problem is if you do single divide, it will basically consider the float value, which is it will attach 0.0 to it.
So this
And
is
then-
like this is math floor.
Yeah,
Okay.
you could say yeah, math floor is basically it's the math floor.
Nice. That's way easier.
So it gives you strict int value. So and then like it just basically it's exactly same what you guys did. By -1 if it is odd, and if it's like not if it's even, then just divide by 2. And teams divide by 2, and then return at the end match is played. So this would be like log n complexity.
Why did you have to do math floor if you're dividing by an even number?
I don't have to, but like whenever you do any division, it basically converts it into a math, a float value.
Oh, okay.
So you have to make it like I mean, if your problem is expecting a float value here, like let's say if the return is type is float, then you can do like just single divide. But like even if it's like not a decimal value, it will still attach 0.0 to it.
Yeah, so this is more just about removing the .0000s. than-
Correct, yeah.
Okay,
Correct.
cool. That makes sense. Cool. Yeah, Python's so simple, man. I know so many people who started doing data structure. It's not simple, but I know a lot of people who started doing data structure algorithm and like JavaScript, and then once they discovered Python, they're like, I'm never going back to JavaScript. Python is just so much
Yeah,
better.
I mean the thing with like Python is like it is very good with strings actually. Strings, it's like it's the best language for strings. C++ or C sucks in strings. Even Java, I'm not sure about JavaScript, but like Python is so good with strings. So that's why I'm trying to like. So my thought process is whenever there's a problem with strings, I want to like dedicate languages based on the problems. So whenever there's a problem with string, better to use like Python.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea. Nice, thank you. Does anyone else have one for the easy problem? Different language or different algorithm? Okay. Does anyone have the medium?
I do. From the last week? From this week?
Yeah, from today, the balance of binary search tree.
No, I didn't have time because I was so busy with my kid because he's kind of sick.
Okay, no worries.
Okay.
Which one do you have?
I had the one because I remember that yesterday I had to leave early to help my wife.
Oh yeah.
So I did the one the arithmetic subarrays, but I'm sure you've seen those before. So
Someone shared yesterday, but I also shared my medium yesterday from the day before, so I'm cool with sharing.
okay.
Yeah, you could go ahead and share. Does anyone else have the binary search tree one though? Just curious.
It's what the question was. Is it balance a binary search tree?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it. I can share it, but I mean, let me show like how I have done it.
All right, and then
I've done it like I'm not sure if it's like a good way. I've done it like kind of like a tweak actually.
mhm.
Let me just.
All right, we'll do Aditya, and then I think Fernando, you have the binary search tree, right? I know you guys usually run through the things pretty quick, so we'll do Aditya, Fernando, and then Daniel, unless someone else had their stuff too. But I think Fernando, did you have this one? I saw you unmute for a minute.
Yeah, I have this one.
What language do you have it in?
Python.
Okay, what about you, Aditya?
Mine is Java.
Okay, cool. All right, Aditya, go ahead, and then Fernando, and then Daniel, you want to share the one from yesterday, just so you could like articulate it and get it out?
And if you guys want to, sure.
Yeah, sure. We got like 30 minutes, so.
Yeah. So the way so basically it's a binary search tree. So in binary search tree, the concept is every node to its left will have all the values less than that node, and the nodes to its right will have all the values greater than that node, greater than equal to kind of. Yeah, I think greater than that node. Sorry. So that's the concept of a binary search tree. So for example, you can see here three, like this was the initial problem, like 1, 2, 3, 4, but now there is one. So that's the binary search tree concept, that if you consider any node, all the elements towards its left, towards its right would be greater than it, and all the elements towards its left, like be it like this as well. So you can see both these elements are less than this element. So that's the binary search tree concept. Now the question is one additional part, which is balance a binary search tree. So what exactly balance they mean is for any kind of height of the binary, like depth of that binary search tree for every node, the difference between the two, like the depths of the two subtrees for any node will only differ, like will basically only differ like at least one, not more than that. Sorry, at most one. So you can see, like for example, in this case, what's the depth you can see for every node? Like for like one, let's say. So to its left subtree, the depth is 0 because there is nothing. Now to its right subtree, what is the depth? 1, 2, 3. So you can see the difference is 3 minus 0, which is 3. So that difference is greater than 1. So that cannot be a balanced binary tree. So in order to balance it, what could be the solutions? There could be more than one solution, okay, to balance a binary tree, binary search tree, sorry. So you can see in this case, like now you can see like 2, 1. So first you can see like this is one way to balance it, like one of the solution. Now there are two things you need to check. One thing is if it is a binary search tree. So it is a binary search tree because you can see 2 to its right, all are greater than 2. To its left, all are less than 2. Similarly for 3. If there's nothing, that's fine, but to its right, 4, which is greater than 3. So everything is balanced. Even for 1, it is balanced. Like it's a binary search tree. Now for balance condition, for every node, check its subtree's depth. Now for 2, what are the subtrees? This subtree and this subtree. It's for the 2, this subtree depth is like 2, and this subtree's depth is 1. So that means 2 minus 1, 1. So that is valid. It's a balanced. For 3, the depth is 0 here, here is 1. So 1 minus 0, 1. That's still valid. For 1, both are 0 basically. So 0 minus 0 is 0. So 0 is also fine because it's not exceeding 1. So this is a balanced binary search tree. Similarly for this, you can check that same condition like at every node, and you will get that same concept. So that's a balanced binary search tree. So how I did it to convert this tree to any of these tree. So there's this concept called as in-order traversal. So in-order traversal basically gives you the nodes from your left side to your right side through the root node. So what would be the in order of this particular, let's say what is the in order of 1, 2, 3, 4, this graph, this tree. So in order is going to be first 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4. That's the in order. Similarly for this, what would be the in order? So there is no left, right? So leave it. But after left, so order is left, then root node, then right node. So that's the order for in order. So there's no left. So what the next immediate element would be the root of that left would be 1. Then what would be the right of that root, which is 2. So 1, 2, that is the order. Now check its left. There's nothing left. So that's why 2 is the answer. But let's say if there would have been some extra left node to this 2 node, then the order would be 1, then that node, then 2. Because at every node, you need to first go to the left, extreme left, then to its root node, and then to right. So that's in order. But in this case, it would be just 1, 2, 3, 4. So you need to first initially fetch that order of 1, 2, 3, 4. Because that order is basically going to be, since it's a binary search tree, so that order is going to be like, what do you say, like it's going to be a sorted list actually. If you do in order on any binary search tree, like it, because the input is going to be a binary search tree. So in order traversal on a binary search tree is going to give you a sorted list. So once you get that sorted list, like list of elements, like elements in an array, so then you can build a binary search tree on a new binary search tree over that list.
So that in order function right there is simply building a sorted list.
Correct.
Yep.
Just extracting the sorted list from that binary search tree. Basically.
Extracting the values from the tree and building a sorted list with it.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So once we have got that sorted list, you just need to build another binary search tree. But in this case, like the binary search tree which is going to build is you need to go from top and keep on constructing its subtrees one after the other. For example, like in this case, like this, like how are you going? Let's say if you have the input as 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your sorted list which you extracted from in order traversal. Now, how are you going to build your binary search tree? So it's basically binary search tree means binary search. That's the only concept you need to use. So like you have this numbers, apply binary search, get the middle element. So what would be the middle element? It is going to be like 2. So your top node is going to be 2, root node. Now to its left and to its right, you need to fill. So how are you going to fill its left and right? So for left, you need to have a set of numbers in which you're going to search your left element. So what that set of numbers is going to be, all the numbers before 2, and for its right, all the numbers after 2. So basically you can see here, so initially I start with the 0th, that is this index, and the size -1, that is this index. So that is my low and high. And this is my sorted list. Now I'm checking just like it's a base case because it's a recursion function. So it's a base case where my low and high is crossed, like my binary search is completed. Like all the numbers are traversed, then I'll basically just return null because I have nothing to basically apply a binary search on. But if that's not the case, then you need to get the middle element. So this is the formula to get the middle element, that is 2 it would be. And then after that, I'm creating a new node, that is because I'm constructing a new tree. So I need to first create, like I'm creating a new node with that mid value. And then I'm going to its left with the numbers from low, which is 0th. At initially, this would be 0 to mid -1, which is only 1. Only this would be my search space for this. And for dot right, I'm creating a tree after the number, this 2, after 2, which is from mid +1 to high. That is these two numbers. Then again, I apply a binary search on it and I'll like create one more node. Again, I'll apply the binary search. That way, I'll fill in all the numbers. Now, the way I'm constructing it in such a way that if you see the depth of any subtree would never be more than 1, because I'm constructing the tree first left and then immediately the right side. So that way I'll ensure that my tree is going to be like always won't have one side completely highly depth than the other. There would be max one difference of 1 or like no difference.
Yeah, I like that. I like that because you're just in the initial create tree call, you're just creating that initial new node, and then you start building out that tree by doing new node dot left and new node dot right. But new node dot left is gonna be doing binary search on the left side of the list, and new node dot right is gonna be doing binary search on the right side of the list, and you're slowly just creating new nodes for each side as you go through it, as you go through the list. So you're doing a binary search, but instead of doing like normally when you see a binary search, you're cutting the list in half, and then you're cutting the list in half, and you're cutting the list in half, and then
I am cutting it.
Yeah, you are, but this time as you cut it in half, you're also instead of just focusing on one side. The times I've done binary search, you would cut it in half, and then you're either going left or right.
So,
but now you're actually going left and right.
Yeah, so you actually for this, there's a concept term called as divide and conquer.
Yep.
So what I'm doing is basically divide and conquer, not binary search. So its complexity is going to be n log n. Binary search complexity is just log n, because I'm just going one side. So since I'm going both the sides, I think it's not n log n. Sorry, it would still be log n, because it would still be log n actually.
Would it be n because you're going through every item in the list once? That would be n, right?
Actually, yeah. But the way I'm traversing, I know that I'm going to every element, but the way I'm traversing is I'm parallelly fitting two elements, right? Like I'm not like traversing my loop for n times. So I'm parallelly fitting like two elements at the same time in one single loop. When you say n, you basically in that one iteration, you only fit one number.
Yeah.
Here in one iteration, I'm basically fitting two numbers, right? I mean, like, it's like parallelly two trees are getting traversed. So it's kind of log n actually. It's not n.
Oh, you're saying because you pass in the low and the mid and then the mid and the high, then that you're doing
two and this
for
you
each
can
one?
see this line. I'm basically so these two functions are going to run parallelly. Like it's not going to be one single loop.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the reason I'm saying that like
you're still executing create tree once for every element in the list though, right?
Yeah, I am, but that create tree element is like not going to get that create tree function would not be called only once in one iteration, because it's like I am two times that create function will be called for two numbers at one iteration. That's what I'm saying. Because you can see these two functions are getting called. So when these two functions are getting called at the same time, they are not like twice happening, right? It's happening only in one single iteration. It's like you can visualize that parallelly you're building the left and the right. Then you're parallelly building left and right. So basically the time complexity, to be more precise, would be height of the tree.
Yeah. So you're not even building left and right at the same time though. You're building the left side first, technically.
Yeah, left side first, right? Yeah, you could say that, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's basically height of the tree.
Yeah.
The time complexity is height of the tree. That would be more precise to say.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, and then O of n space because you're creating a new node for every
the list.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Well, the space complexity would be the height of the tree. On the stack because you're traversing it
would be O,
right?
I mean O of n basically, because I'm using a maximum memory. Height would be less than n, right?
Yep. So
But I'm using
height
maximum,
minus
so it
height
would be
minus
like,
1, basically.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that all makes sense. Does anyone have any questions on this? This is clean. I love this solution. This is good.
No, I understand what's being done. I just don't understand Java very well, but I understand the logic though.
Yeah.
Good explanation.
You get the algorithm, just not the syntax, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Watch, if you do this for a couple more months, you're gonna start understanding Java. It's just gonna be like second nature to you, bro. All right, cool. So we got Fernando. You want to go ahead and share the Python? And then we can stay on a little bit longer if Daniel wants to go ahead and share his too, since we started an hour early today too. So.
Yep. Mine is just similar. Although it's the same. Yep. So the first thing that I'm doing is just getting a list. This is the list that I have traversed the tree in order. So yeah, so in order just take the left I traverse the left first, and after I just add the current value of the tree and add the traverse result of the right. So I'm just doing this. So for each level, first I take like this. If I have this this kind of tree, I just start for the left. So that means I'm going to start from this. This is going to be like the base case that I have. So for this tree, the list is just 2.
What are you pointing to? Are you? Because I just see your code, but it looks like your cursor is like at the bottom left.
Oh. Oh, let me. It's weird. Oh, I didn't share my screen.
I saw you like it looked like you were pointing at something. Like I'm like, why is he pointing at like the extensions?
Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah. There you go. Okay,
Yeah,
there we go. Okay, yeah, that's way better. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. If I have these 3, and I want to record in order, I just start from the left. So it's in a recursion way. So you have to go to the left, go to the left, go to the left, and this is my base case. So the result of this is just 2, and you go up 1 level from 5, and you add 5, and you go down, and that's the right, and you just have 6. So you add 6 to your answer. So it's just this is the in order. Just take the left, the value of the tree in the middle, and the value of the right. Just something like this, 2, 5, and 6, and you return that to the parent, so that we have on 1 level we just have all these 2 things to the left, just like this. So 2, 5, 6, 8. We don't have nothing on the left, so we are going to return that to the parent, and we are going to go once we add this 10 to the left, to the right, and we are going to have just 1. That's 12, and it's going to go to the right. So you have this list of values that's just is sorted, because this is a binary search tree. So that's always sorted in a sorted way, because the values that are minor than the root value goes to the left and the greater to the right. So yeah, once I have this list, I start building the tree, just taking the value in the middle like this, and you can do that just starting with some indexes like the 0 and 5. This is just the size of the list minus 1. In this case, we have 6 elements, so the size of the list is 6 minus 1 is 5. In the middle is going to be 2. So we are going to take this as the middle, and we are going to create a new tree. And we are going to do the same for the part on the left. And the same, we are going to divide in 2, and we are going to create a new tree for the middle. In this case, we are going to take this as the middle for this range. And we are going to set this the unique value on the right. So once it's done, we are going to go to the left and just do the same. It's a recursion algorithm. So that is my build balance tree. So you have some index, the start and the end. And you stop once the start is greater than the end. So you don't have a valid range. So you just return none. This is similar like null in Java. And we have this index. That means the index of the value in the middle just is the start plus n divided by 2. And just I'm making sure that this is an integer, not a float value. And just I created new tree with the value, and I call the same function, but I just set the range like this. If I take this value in the middle, the values that are not taken is from 0 to 1. So that means it's from the start until middle minus 1, because we are taking middle. And from the right, it's just middle plus 1 and to the end. So that's like if my middle is 2, my next is going on 3 to 5. So yeah, we are going to do this in a recursion way. This is going to be just the left part of the tree, and this is going to be the right part of the tree. And I just call this function, and just I define my start is from 0 to the size of the list minus 1. Yeah, that's my solution in Python.
Awesome, nice. Almost identical to a DTS2. Cool.
Yeah. Also, very good, Fernando, doing the drawing and all that. Appreciate that. Going the extra mile.
Yeah, thanks. Some things I also don't understand. Just I need to do some drums.
Some visualization.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I understood it. Yeah.
Yeah, it made sense. So it sounds like there's really two big pieces to this algorithm. One is build the list by performing an in-order traversal of the tree, and then use the list to perform a divide and conquer method to rebuild the tree, basically, recursively. Cool. And then Fernando, what would you say is the space and time complexity on that? Like, what do you think?
I didn't measure the space complexity. I mean, I'm using this extra list, so it's going to be like n log of n. But for the time complexity, I don't have. I didn't calculate.
But Fernando, wouldn't it be login like, or it's need to be OFN? Because like when you're building the tree, it's basically you're trying to like kind of build the left and the right parallelly, right? So it's basically dividing always like by two, correct?
Yeah.
So your recursion calls, your functions calls are going to get divided by two, right? So like that would make sense to like being log n, right, instead of O of n.
Yeah. It's going to be log of n.
You're
in case.
yeah, but you're dividing with two, but you're dividing by two on two sides. So you're dividing by two, but you're also doubling that divided by two. Because let's just say we have 8 elements inside of our list, and we cut it in half. We take out that mid, and then we have, let's just say, 3 on the left side and 4 on the right side, and we're basically doing divided by 2, but we have 2 sides.
Yeah, but the thing is, like when do you say it's O of n? When your one single like your so basically the O of n complexity is there is only one single thread which is computing something for n times. But in this case, there are going to be multiple threads created because you are dividing your function calls, running 2 function calls parallelly. So it's going to be like parallel processing. So when you say O of n, like normal, let's say you are just going a for loop from 1 to n and printing like the value I, let's say from 1 to n. That times there's one thread which is basically running at every iteration and calling n times. So that's O of n. But like in this case, that's the reason you like kind of, otherwise why would I like make those 2 calls if not, it's not going to improve the time complexity at the same time. I'll just like, I mean, I don't even have to handle those 2 calls parallelly. There's a reason I'm doing them parallelly. Like if in that case, like any merge sort also shouldn't be n log n. Merge sort should be like n square basically. Why is it n log n? There's a reason it is n log n. You understood, Jim?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. That's a good question. Why would merge sort be n log n? Huh. That's a good question. See, the thing, let me just go ahead and share my screen really quickly, because the way that I think about it is like you're not actually traversing the tree parallelly. So let's say we have this array right here, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elements, or yeah, 8
Correct.
elements, and then we have our mid. So we build a node with this mid. So we have our node, and this node is 9. And then inside of our function, and then we call the create again, but we call it just with this. So we call it just with this, right? We're calling create tree with this right here, right? So space, this is O of n divided by 2, right? Because we've only called this side so far. We haven't even called this side. We're still on this side. So we have, so far, let me just keep track of our total calculations. So far we have 1. We only ran a calculation once for the 9. We created this node. So we ran this calculation for this element. So our total here is 1 total calculations so far. And so we go ahead and we create node again. So we're creating another function call on the stack. So this is actually using up a little bit more space. And so now we find our mid again. Let's just say it's 5. And we go ahead and create another node. This is our left side traversal. So we have 5. And then we do the same thing. We do the same thing here. And now we're calling create tree again. Actually, now we've performed 2 calculations because we created 2 nodes. We used the 9 to create a node, and we used the 5 to create a node. And so now we're also creating more space on, so we're using more memory now. And now we're gonna find our mid. Let's just say our mid is 3, for example. So now we have a total number of 3 computations because we just created another node. Oops, we just created. We just created another node for the 3. And so we did that. Now we're at 3 total computations for the number of elements.
Yeah, it is going to be O of n. Yeah, right.
So, but it's not O of n space complexity. Because at the end, by the time we're done, we create 1 node for every element in here. By the time we end up coming back, for every single element in here, we create 1 node. But
so you're saying it's less than O of n?
I think it's O of n.
Yeah, space and time both will be O of n.
Yes. Well, yeah. So yeah. So if you're looking at like the list is going to be O of n space, and the final tree is going to be O of n space, but then we also have to call these recursive calls, which is going to be O of h. So
yeah, usually like when you explain the complexity, I know, but usually you don't explain those. You just explain the explicit memory you're using, because those function calls which you are making, they are going to be using inline stack. You don't have to usually mention.
Yeah, it's different space. It's a whole different thing, but
yeah, now I understood. It's not log n, it's O of n. Correct, yeah. It's not log n.
Time complexity, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah. I got confused with that. Yeah.
No, it's all good. I was just trying to understand it too, because I just want to like.
True.
I want to think it through.
I mean, I was just like trying to think from like an operating system perspective actually, because the 2 calls I'm making left and right, they are not dependent on each other. They have different memory which they are accessing.
Yeah.
The indexes are separate. So you can make them run parallelly. They don't need to be dependent on each other. So like I know that it's not going to, as per the code which you have written, it's not going to run them parallelly. It's going to complete the left, then the right. So every node will be implemented separately. But like from parallel thread processing, you should be able to call them parallelly because there is no dependency on each other.
And then would calling them concurrently is a word you could use as well, or no?
Yeah, concurrently, yeah.
So if you call them concurrently, how does that change the time? Does it change the time complexity?
Or yeah, no? It should change because like when you, let's say you are fitting 9, right? Like if you go back to that image,
yeah,
you are placing the 9 value. Like
I closed it.
Okay, you removed it.
Yeah.
So when you're placing 9 value, the other 2 values will be placed at the same time. They won't be like it won't be like going completing all left. So the 2 elements would be placed at the same time. Then in the 3rd level, 4 elements will be placed at the same time. You're saying
in different threads, or you talking like
different
lower
threads.
level?
The first one will have 1 thread, second one will use 2 thread, third one will use 4 threads.
But the total computation is still n though, right?
No, because threads are running parallelly, right? So it would be height of the tree. So what is the height of the tree? That would be the time taken because you are handling 4 elements.
Oh, yeah. So you're saying it would be of log n. So it'd be faster.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But if it's running sequentially, then it would be O of n. But if it's running
parallel, because every element is handling separately. Right?
Yeah,
that's how we have built it now.
Okay, we're getting into the nitty gritty of it.
Yeah, I have a question. Are we, when we're talking about like running in sequence or not? Does it depend on the kind of language we're using, like multi-threading, single threading, or anything like that?
it's not
Yes.
dependent on language, but you can do that in Java as well in Python. So there is a different library you need to use or different concept you need to use for threads. But it can be done in any language.
But
Okay.
isn't Python and Java, aren't they built with like aren't they built aren't the nature of Java and Python to use multiple threads, whereas JavaScript is not using threads unless you like specifically program it to use threads with the cluster
Uh,
module?
no, in Java as well or in Python as well, unless you explicitly don't define a thread class, it won't run as thread.
So you have to
Like
do it
you need to
specifically.
define a
Oh,
thread
okay.
class,
Okay, I
and
got
that
you.
object would be a thread safe object. Like you can apply thread functions. So in JavaScript as well, there is a concept called as web workers or worker nodes. So you can use that worker nodes to, so it's a class. So you need to use its functionality to build basically threads. So you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
do
yeah.
that as well in JavaScript.
Yep. That makes sense. All right, so unless you explicitly program it, it's going to be O of n time complexity. But if you wanted to optimize, you could build some extra functionality into it that made it O of log n.
Yeah, so yeah, you can make it like offlog and you can make it like threads. But those
Okay.
threads will be basically using the server thread, means your system threads. Like,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
your
Now,
system would be basically need to be good to handle those many threads.
yeah. Okay, I understand what you're saying now. Cool. Thank you. All right, and then Daniel, did you still want to share the other one?
If you guys want to, I know it's already past 8, but I can try to do it real quick. I guess.
Yeah, if you want, go ahead. Yeah, I scheduled this one an hour early just so we weren't like so pressured later, you know.
Yeah, it's certainly not about multi-thread, so.
Yeah, me and Aditi are digging into the weeds right now.
Yeah, if everyone remembers the okay, this is the wrong problem. Let me get the actual problem. Where was it? Problem of the day. Was this one, right? Was it this one? Yeah, I think it was this one. Yeah, because it's different because I have lots of comments. Sorry. Yeah, but a sequence of numbers called arithmetic consists of at least 2 elements, and the difference between them of every 2 consecutive elements is the same. So you have like 3 arrays. You have the elements array. You have the L array and the R array, which are the indices for the subarrays. So for example, the first subarray is going to be 4, 6, 5 because we start from 0, which is 4, and until 2. So 4 is going to be 0, 6 is going to be 1, 5 is going to be 2. So this is the first subarray, and of course, after that you keep going to the right. So next one's going to be 0, 3. So it's the same as the other one, but now you have the index 3 included. And as you do, the last one is going to be from 2 to 5, which creates the subarray 5, 9, 3, 7. So also while you're doing that, you're checking to see if the subarray is what they call the arithmetic, right? So here in the example, it says this one is arithmetic because the difference between each element is 1. This one is not because there's a big difference between 9 and the second smallest one, which is 6. There's 3. It's not 1, so this cannot be. But this one is because the difference between the smallest. So let's say 3 to 5 is 2, 5 to 7 is 2, 7 to 9 is 2. So this can be rearranged to 3, 7, 3, 5, 7, 9. Which the difference is 2, so this is arithmetic. So what I did was I created an array to store the booleans, because as you can see, you have to return an array of booleans. I looped through the nums array L times, and the reason I did L times and not nums dot length or something like that is because we only need to do it the amount of times of the subarray. So if if you because if you notice here, that's what I noticed. I noticed that for this example, for example, the length is 3 and the length is 3. And for this one, the length is 6 and the length is 6. So I kind of assumed, I don't know if I'm correct or not, but I kind of assumed that, if you're gonna have a left pointer and a right pointer, they should be the same size. I could have gone with R. I chose L. First, doesn't matter really. It could have been like R length. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm looking through the nums array um, until I is equal to the length of L, which is 3. So 0, 1, and 2. I is going to be 0, 1, and 2. The first thing I did was create a subarray with a slice method. I sorted and then I stored. I don't know if that's the best method. That's what I could think of. But basically, you get the slice. So that would be the elements here. So the first slice would be the first subarray, right? And then I sort it in a way that it becomes this, but instead of 6, 5, 4, I do 4, 5, 6, but it doesn't matter. It could be like b minus a. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, like as you can see, this one is decreasing, this one is increasing, so it doesn't really matter. So after this, I should have a sorted subarray, right, of the current slice. So I need to first define the diff between the first element of the subarray and the second one. It's going to be a positive number. So, for example, here for this array, remember this is sorted. So the first would be 4, and the second 0 would be 4, and 1 would be 5. So 5 minus 4 would be 1. So the diff is 1. I created a flag that will later push the result. The default is true. We're gonna assume that the difference there's no difference. How can I explain that? I'm gonna assume that every single difference between each element is the same number. It's like the same k number or whatever, like 1 or 2 or whatever you're using. In this case, it'd be 1, right? So I'm assuming it's always going to be 1. So this is true. And here, I know this is very inefficient because, I'm looping again inside a loop. I'm looping again, but this time I start from the third element because we already know the diff of the first and the second element. So there's no need really to recalculate that. So I use j equals 2 and j should be less than it should run until j is equal to the subarray length, which in this case it's going to be 3, right? So if I remember correctly, is it the subarray length 3? Yeah, I think so. I check if the difference between j and j minus 1 elements are not equal to the first diff. So basically, if I get let's say j2, which would be okay. Let me just write the subarray because I keep forgetting. It's like this, right? The first subarray. So we already know that the difference between 4 and 5. Sorry, 5 and 4 is 1. We also want to make sure that the difference between 6 and 5 is also 1. But if the difference is not the same as the first diff, then we set the flag that no diff set to false because there is a difference between the elements. And we immediately break out of the loop because we only need one false case. The whole thing is false, right? Because it doesn't really matter how many times you run. If you get just one false, it's false. And of course, you push the result with the flag, which for this time it's not gonna be false, right? Because the diffs are the same, so it's gonna push true, and then it's gonna start all over again. And it's gonna do that until it runs out, and then it's gonna start from the first loop, and now I is gonna be 1, and you get the gist, right? You guys are smart.
Yeah.
Basically creating like a bunch of subarrays. It's increasing L. Sorry, it's not increasing. It's taking L and Ri plus 1 because you want to include this, otherwise this would be excluded. But yeah, basically I'm slicing, I'm sorting, I'm getting the difference between the two first elements. I create a flag that's always true unless the difference between any of the subsequent elements in the subarray is different than the one we calculated here. If it is, we set false and we push false to the result. Otherwise, we push true because we didn't get inside of this code here. And after that, you just return the array with the booleans. I don't know what the time complexity is. I assume it is O(n) squared because there are two loops, one inside the other one, like a for loop and then a for loop, but I could be wrong. But I guess I'm not. Anyway. And space complexity, I say O(n) because slice is an array with the size that's equal to n. Like all I do here is I basically get the same array of nums and I sort it. But it's slightly smaller, so maybe it's not. But the worst case, I think it's n because the worst case is that the worst case is that you have the whole thing, right? So I assume it would be equal size n. So, but that was the hardest part for me to understand. So maybe you guys
can you go up? Can you go up real quick? I just want to see the algorithm. So you're basically creating the subarray, you're sorting the subarray, you're finding out the diff, and then you're iterating over the subarray to make sure the diff is consistent across the entire subarray. And if it's not, you store false you push false onto the output array, and if the diff is consistent across every element of the subarray, you push true onto the
true, which is here,
Okay, cool. I didn't sort. I need to sort because in my C algorithm, I need to actually build a couple methods for sort. So this will give me an opportunity to actually like build a couple sorting algorithms and just know those.
Yeah, I think this is really inefficient. It could be even worse than O(n) squared, but it's a medium problem, and that's how I was able to solve it. But we know result is gonna be the size of L or R because they're the same size. So it's gonna be the size of the L or R. Here it's gonna be a size that.
What are the constraints?
Yeah, let's check that. Okay, so n.
So 500.
Nums length. M's L. I don't know what they mean by M, but whatever.
They're just using a number to represent the lengths. So 500, right?
Yeah.
So that's the max. Okay. Yeah, so that's a small problem. Aditya, what was yours? Was yours was O(n) squared too, or what?
It's n square log n, even yours. So it's kind of n square log n, like.
Yeah, it just says it's pretty bad, but
n squared log n. Why n squared log n?
I mean, it's not n square log n. It's basically number of queries into the number of elements into log of number of elements. Because you are traversing through every query, and then at every query, let's say that query was like worst case entire array. So it's going to be like all the elements into log of, so n log n for the sorting it's n log n.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And to go through
agree.
every query, it's basically so query number of queries into n log n basically.
Isn't it not like n squared log n or something because you have a for loop inside a for loop?
No, but like I mean, the right way to explain it, like to tell it, is you shouldn't tell n square log n, because your when you say n square, the outer for loop has a different. So if you go to description, just go to description.
The outer for
Sure.
loop is 500 max. We could just call that
Yeah.
M, right? Let's call that M.
Yeah, and what is like the inner, like how many number of elements max can be allowed?
In nums?
Oh, it's still n. Okay, the max elements can also be okay. So it's let's consider as n. So basically, it's m into n log n. So you can see they have given like in constraints. You can see they have given n is the number of elements and m is the length of the queries. So
Yeah.
it should be
Yeah.
m into n log n basically.
And what?
M is the number of queries and n
Yes.
is the number of elements. So it should be
M
m into n log n.
n log n.
Hold on. Where's the log n coming from?
You're sorting it, right? So sorting is n log n.
But that's separate though, right?
No, but you're sorting it within every query, right?
No, no, he's finding the slice and then he's sorting the slice.
Yeah, but like what that slice is? That slice is basically every query, right?
For every query, let's see,
We're
nums
yeah, we're
dot
doing
slice,
query.
you're creating a subarray. Oh yeah, because that's inside of the okay.
Inside a for loop, yeah.
Okay, yep.
You want to ask ChatGPT to see what it says, maybe, or do you want to keep further discussing?
I'd be surprised if let's see.
What is the time and space?
Eventually, it's gonna be doing the hard problems easy without us.
So yeah, let's guess. Like, what do you think it is?
Hold on, go back to it really quickly. Let me just look at it and take a guess. So we got the outside.
Yeah, take a guess.
The outside loop is gonna be. I'm just gonna call the outside loop P because M sounds way too much like N. So let's just say P. So we're looping over it P amount of times, and then we're sorting it for every single P. So it's gonna, and then subarray, nothing. Oh, and then we have another for loop inside, which that for loop is gonna be subarray length, and the subarray length could be 0 to n, for all we know.
Yeah, but
that could be 0 to n every single time. It could be 0 and n. So that's all right. So we're looking at. Oh, this is bad.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Like it is still, I mean, like P into n log n, because so when you say complexity, you need to give the highest time it could take within a single for loop.
Okay, yeah.
Well, if the sort wasn't in there, it would be.
If the sort was within the inner for loop, then it would have been really bad.
Oh my good. But let's just say the sort didn't exist. What would it be if the sort didn't exist? So the P is the outer loop and n.
P into n.
P to the square of n, right?
No. P into n. P times n.
P times n.
I mean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
N squared.
So
yeah.
you think I should have sorted outside the for loop?
So you sorted it before the inner for loop, right?
You have to sort inside there though.
So basically, the if you give me like the entire time complexity, like then it would be P into n log n plus n, basically.
Okay, I want you all to write in the chat what do you think it is. Come on, let's see what you got. So gonna do like time. I think it's I agree with you. M log n log n, because this is for the sort n log n, right? And we're doing m times and space. Let me think of space. Space. We're just getting. I think space is Okay, we're creating space of here of M or P or whatever you want. We're creating the subarray here, which is less than N, but could be N.
Aditya got 4 answers. I'm just playing. What do we got here? All right, this is what I think. P times N plus
Okay.
P log N.
No. So it should be P n log n. P times n
Oh,
plus P
I don't
times
know any
n
better.
log n.
Yeah, I'm going with you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, Jim, it's not P log n, it's P n log n.
P N.
I'm betting on Aditya. Sorry, Jim. I'm betting on Aditya.
So this then you think? This.
I'm betting on Aditya.
Like that?
Let's see.
Like that.
Yeah,
And
right.
also, we need to
That's
assume that ChatGPT knows what it's talking about. Hopefully, it is.
Oh my goodness, let's see what they say.
They say, "Oh my God, you should stop coding. You suck."
What is it? What does it say?
Okay.
Time
O
complex.
M N login.
Zoom in, I can't see.
Which is okay. O M N login is the worst case, which I think is what Aditya had, right?
Yeah.
And the worst case for space complexity is also O M N login. So they're the same, really.
Is approximately O of, hold on, go back. O of M
Sorry.
times N plus N times log N. Which simplifies
Okay,
to
OM.
M times N times log N in worst case. Damn, so I was close, right?
Yeah, that was close.
I used the P.
login
I
is
used the P.
correct, but yeah, the logins is not really necessary because N and login is gonna be N. But yeah, I honestly missed everything because I said it would be O(n) squared and O(n), and I didn't even I forgot about this.
I don't trust ChatGPT though.
So you still think you're right? Okay. that's
No,
okay.
no, I don't think I'm right, but I don't think ChatGPT is right either.
Yeah, but I am pretty sure. I'm
Jim
like,
says you're wrong.
I'm 100% sure that I am right.
You're 100%?
Just add more 10% to it.
All right, I'm
Okay,
120% sure.
let's see your solution here. Okay, Jim says
Say
time
no.
complexity.
Say why is it not this?
Why is it not? We have to change to M, right?
No.
M.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, then it'll at least give us a reason why I'm wrong.
I'm telling you, he'll say that you are right. This is right. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's going
No,
to
no,
say,
I'm not. No, that's
sorry.
not space. That was time. All that was time.
Oh, all this with time? Jesus Christ. Okay, sorry.
No. Jim said
Plus.
Jim said it's just M log n actually.
Oh shit, this is time, Jim?
Yeah, M times N plus
You think
M.
that poorly of me?
Actually, I didn't
Remove
say.
that N.
Here. Put the M inside where the first N is, instead in front of the
The
log.
M inside.
Yeah, right. Get rid of that N.
Okay.
Put an M, and then delete the M outside the parenthesis. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I said initially. Why is it not this?
Okay. Why is it not time complexity?
Yeah, that's good.
You dumb. It's okay.
Yeah, got it.
Let's break down. Okay. Let's see who wins, man or machine. Exciting.
Yeah, I'd say right after this, right? But my wife says that the above one is right. She'll tell you. Yeah, your wife is always right.
Yeah. That's funny.
He'll seriously tell you. Like, he has done that before. My wife says that this is right, and I feel like she's right. Just say this much.
Yeah,
That's funny.
the outer loop's OM. I think we knew that, right? The slice operation takes OR. In the worst case, that would be ON. That's what I also expected. I completely ignored this.
And log N.
But yes, it's N log N. So let's analyze time complexity.
N
Blah 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 blah. It
times
simplifies to
times log N. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. M times N times log N. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, because it's not N log N. You're doing M times N times log N. That actually makes sense to me. Because you have to add the sort. The sort is... The
If
sort...
there's, if there's a specific part where Jim sees a different complexity, please provide more details or let me know.
That's
I'll be
funny.
happy to discuss it. I'm gonna
Tell him no.
send you his email.
Yo, if I just checked my email and it said from ChatGPT, I would just turn off all my technology and go in the woods for a few weeks.
Oh God. Okay, that was fun, man. Yeah, that's my algorithm, and I guess it's not that good, is it?
Nah, it doesn't have to be good because there's only 500. You're only iterating it. Like it's a small constraint, so no sweat. It worked,
Yeah,
right?
but-
It worked, right?
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah,
What would
so-
be the the most efficient algorithm, and what would be the time and space complexity for it?
Ooh, that sounds fun. Daniel, have you ever been to any of our meetings when Cassie was coding with us? She just posted
No.
something in the resource channel. If you want to check that out, there's an advent calendar of coding challenges during December that starts tomorrow. That sounds fun.
I don't know if I'll be able to do it because my kid is sick. Right now he's sleeping, which is the only reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
But yesterday I had to go to the emergency because he was having trouble breathing.
Yeah, you sound a little sick too, bro. You should
Yeah, we're all sick, man. We're all completely sick.
Yeah, you should hit the sheets too, man. Get some rest. Feel better.
Yeah, I'll do that. So let's see what it says. It says, okay, OM log. That's not bad.
It says you sound congested, Daniel. Stop asking me questions.
Hey, isn't it the same thing? OM n log n and OM plus n.
Nah.
What's okay? OMN, OM log n. This is OMN log n.
Just do the math. Just do the math, man. Replace the
I can't do that.
replace the letters with the actual numbers. M would be 500. N would be the length of the array, and then in log n, that would be the length of the array. So in O of m plus n, you're looking at 500 plus the length of the array, and if you're looking at m times n times log n, you're looking at 500 times the length of the array times log n. So it's definitely way different.
Yeah, I'm not that good with when it comes to logging all shit like that. I'm sorry.
Me neither, really. It's all good.
Yeah. Anyway, I know it's not the best algorithm, but you know.
Nah, it's good, man. It solves the problem. It passes. That's all that matters at the end of the day. So good job.
So what is this? What is the thing that I did wrong that is right here? Because I see him doing the same thing with the L length. He still has the result. You know, okay, he's doing he's using is it recursion? No.
No, it's not O of m end to n.
Oh, it is
still
upper.
O of
It's
n
a
log
helper
n.
function.
It's still O of, it's still the same complexity. He has not done something new.
Okay, so he didn't come up with something new. Okay,
Nah.
he just tried.
ChatGPT kind of bombed you.
Okay, so basically he tried to improve mine instead of coming up with one of his own.
He gave you the same solution which you gave it to him, but just modified it and just wrote the complexity m into n.
Well, I guess you know.
So if you like, there is one good solution. So if you go to the lead code platform, just go to the discuss tab. Go to the editorial tab. You can see there is an editorial. Yeah. This is the first method which we all did. Just go down, there would be approach 2 as well. So in approach 2, it is m into n. Keep on going down.
M times n.
Yeah, so without sorting, you can see approach 2 down.
No sorting, okay.
Yeah, so this is the method which doesn't have log n property, just m into n. So you can go through the solution, see what they've done.
Hold on.
OMN.
Go back up to the solution. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, there is a visualization as well if you go up. So they explain you like in words as well, like what they are doing. You can see this. So they explain you like in detail, like what they are doing, what method they are using. So I was thinking of this only, something related to min and max, and then calculating like the values. But like I was like somewhere stuck actually. So you need to use the min value in that sequence and the max value.
Oh
That-
shit. Okay, let's update this. Okay, oh yeah, okay, yeah.
An element in R is max and a minimum element is min. If R were to form an arithmetic sequence, then the difference that defines the sequence must be equal to max minus min divided by
Jesus
n
Christ.
minus 1. Why? Because min must be the first element of the sequence and max must be the final element of the sequence. Thus,
Jesus
if we
Christ.
started at min and iterated to max, we would require n minus 1 iterations. On each iteration, our value would be increased by diff. Therefore, we increment a total of diff times n minus 1. By starting at min and ending at max, we cover a total distance of max minus min. Thus, we have diff times n minus 1 equals max minus min, which we can arrange as diff equals max minus min divided by n minus 1. So max minus min equals 15 minus 1 equals 14. And then diff is 14 divided by 7 equals 2. 14 divided by 7, because 7 is n minus 1. So 2. And then what do we do with that 2? Diff. Oh. Is that
I don't know.
Is that the average diff though?
I don't know, man. I assume so. I think basically it's like if he's trying to like he's getting the max number and the min number and he's trying to find the average. Yeah, that's basically what it is, I think.
Go down
like
to the code.
getting all the elements.
Go down to the code.
It's like an average.
So basically, when you add them and when you divide them with like the number,
Let's
the
use a
different
Python one, I
value,
guess.
and if you
Python
count
one.
the number of elements, the total sum should be the number of elements into the minimum element, right?
Yeah.
So that would give you that it is an arithmetic sequence. Something like that. Something like that.
Hold on.
That's weird.
Go back to the code.
It's math actually. It's pure math.
Yeah.
Do you want the link, Jim? I can send it to you.
Yeah. Because I'm seeing, okay, so if you do max element minus min element modulus length minus 1, if it's not equal to 0, you return false. And then, yeah, so you're running that check. On each subarray. Oh, okay. Nice. So the check is where the math happens. Cool. Yeah, send me that link. I want to look at that. That's interesting. That's way better. I want to memorize this. At least understand it. See the math involved. That's
I mean, I'm not gonna get the math solution for sure.
You can. You can. It's just you have to slow way down.
Yeah.
And walk through it step by step and understand every little thing in the problem. If you do that, you'll understand it, and then you'll start understanding more math solutions. That's where the efficiency.
So
really
why didn't you do that then? Just kidding.
Do the math because I need to see it. I need to see it first. Actually, I've come up with math solutions where I kind of just like found the patterns within the problem and like figured it out. But those take a long time because you're basically writing a proof.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're like taking tons of notes, and then you're like, oh, okay, you start seeing it, and then you could prove that this is the mathematical formula for it. I want to get more into the proofs, though. Honestly, I want to spend. I have a big book on proofs. I'm like 10% done with it. I want to like start going through it and actually do like a proof a day. That'd be good.
Yeah, and also you have to remember I'm still a very beginner to this, and I did both on the same day. Easy and medium, so that's a win for me. I'm happy with that. Like, I'll take it,
Yeah, I don't look at you as a beginner, bro.
Do you see me as a pro?
Nah, I don't see it. I don't think any of us are pros. I think I think we're all beginners. I think it's good to have that beginner mindset, but I don't think you're like. I guess I guess I don't look at it as beginner. I look at like, are you focused? Are you driven? Are you determined? Are you resilient? Are you persistent? Are you curious? Like, do you have these and way more qualities than that? Like, I don't care. You could have 30 years experience. If you don't have these things, you're not. I don't really want you on my team.
I mean, just to add, Jim, like you also have to be a maniac, actually.
True, I know.
So you guys are senior beginners, and I'm a junior beginner. That's fine.
Yeah, I feel like a beginner, man. I always try to keep that beginner mindset. I want to always keep that. I don't ever want to feel like I know enough.
Unless you go onto an Apple event and present there, you won't be considered a pro.
Even then, I mean, the thing is, like, when I read research papers, I also read research papers with people who disagree with them. So even if you are on the cutting edge and you're the one, like, creating new information and doing research, there's people who disagree with you. And you might be wrong. You might be the one who everyone's listening to, but you also might be wrong. Like, in 10 years from now, they might all be like, oh, yeah, he's an expert, but he was actually wrong about all that stuff he was saying. You know, so... Yeah, you gotta stay on.
Let's see what the comments say. Low, I thought brute force approach would time out. If you just use brute force, blah 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 blah. Why is this problem tag? It's medium. I can't get it. Blah blah blah.
So,
Most already.
If you want to read some funny comments as well, pick any random super hard problem and read its comments. You'll understand.
True.
They'll be like, I feel like this is what we call hell.
Yeah.
Those kind of comments.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, I'm gonna hop off. I'm cool. You sent the link. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, I will. I'm gonna be on probably from like 4 to close tomorrow, and then we have the machine learning project that we're building at 6. So I'll see y'all then. Whoever joins.
Yeah. Thank you all for explaining your solutions and having the patience to navigate my solution with me. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.